All right. And we are live. The Last Word with Lord Cognito and Ebontis. Friday morning, fresh out the campfire. Absolutely nothing to talk about, E. I think we should end the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty quiet week overall in the world of video games. Destiny doesn't have much going on. No real activity. So, guys, it's been a great... No, I'm absolutely just kidding. We are being ridiculous. This is a bonkers week in both video games and in Destiny.
Yes, sir.
I do believe if there was a metaphor for fan and things hitting it, now would be the time.
Yes, indeed. A lot of stuff going on in the gaming world.
So before we even get to Destiny stuff, I actually did want to, because honestly, like, I know this is a Destiny podcast, but I pay attention to a bunch of other stuff too. Been a good week, huh? Or an interesting one. Definitely,
very
for sure.
Interesting.
For you, what's been kind of your highlights outside of Destiny that you've seen this week? Anything piquing your interest? Any games have your attention? I know exactly what you should say here, so I'm hoping to hear it.
As the resident ninja on this podcast, there is definitely something piquing my interest. Shout out to Sucker Punch Entertainment. Man, Ghost of Tsushima. Woo, I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. Man,
Tsushima. I heard him say it once.
Tsushima.
So it was like pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, oh man. Fantastic, man. That is a love letter to the genres and the stuff I grew up, the old samurai movies, the old kung fu flicks, the black and white filter, you know, with the Japanese dub and like that's what I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? So like to see that. Are you gonna
play it in black and white?
Oh, I might have to. Bro.
I wondered. I saw that. I was like, that might be Cognito.
Yeah, that's me. That's for the old heads, the old guys. We like that stuff, man. Listen, man. I tell people anytime, if you have authentic cherry blossoms in your game of the year. Game of the year. That's it. All you got to do, the secret is the cherry blossoms.
Destiny 3 comes out, and then an indie game has cherry blossoms, and we're going to crown the indie. Good job, cherry blossoms.
Shout out to Shoro before me, black and white movie. Oh, she know the shout out to Dakota. She's on to something. That's my home girl. What you know about that, Shoro before? Yes. It is, man. I've had my eye on it since it was first announced. A lot of people were unsure because they didn't know what the premise was. And to me, what really killed it, because I know you're a Sekiro guy and you're the Dark Souls guy. You guys love the hard difficulty. And salute to you guys, because I'm too old for that. I'm not trying to break my control and be mad.
Too old for this stuff.
Yeah, I'm too old. I need cherry blossoms and amazing scenery. And shout out to Petting a Fox. Then the key thing
what does the fox say?
Yeah, right. Then the key thing for me, which is really cool, is it's literally 2 games in one. You can play the honorable samurai way, the stances, all that type of combat, honorable combat, or you can play the dishonorable way, the way of the ninja. So I am super excited. This might be my game of the year if they pull it off, man. You have no idea. Unbelievable. Yes, Dakota, I did see his version of Macbeth. It's amazing. Yeah, confirmed. I don't think Cognito doesn't weave. Listen, man, telling you, bro. I own it. I own it, man. Thing brought a tear to my eye. Beautiful. But that's been my highlight. What about you, sir?
Outside of that, because I'm waiting on that too. I mean, yeah, I played Sekiro. I've been playing Nioh too. So I'm definitely in those vibes. And they had stances. I was like, stances, Nioh, here we go. We got the slashing combat. Like, I mean, if he goes shing and like slices one guy, honestly, like for that one, like I'm getting to the PS5 Unreal Engine demo. That's mine for the week, get to without a question. Yeah. But like when he sliced the guy and then he slowly dies, like slowly dropped, and then kind of slowly, I was like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's like, I like that. I was like, it'd be a little weird in combat if you're like, are they dead? But I was like, yeah, that's how you'd fall. I mean, you get slashed, you're like, it's like a slow dramatic scene. I mean, that game looked like a cross of not quite Breath of the Wild for the climbing, but like the vistas and the landscape. The vistas, like, yes. Like you stand up and you're like, hey, I see that smokes thing over there. And it's like, and you look like you can go there. Like that Breath of the Wild piece with the ninja and then the ghost, like the samurai and the ghost, 2 sides and stances and like the smoke bombs. And it looked like he had different amounts of health. So I feel like you might have a little bit of leveling up in there. Yeah. And then there's like materials that you're picking up. I was like, oh, dude, if this is like Ninja God of War is what I want.
Yeah.
Because God of War there's points where God of War will kick your butt. The Valkyries are insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if it's got like it's not good. And then I finally saw the one battle where they were against the 2 armored guys. Yes. And he's like hitting them. It's kind of like ching block, and you got 2 of them. It's like, and it actually looks like that. Like, I don't want every fight just to be like, shoot, he's dead. Shoot, he's dead.
Right.
So when I finally,
we're gonna have the. I'm telling you, we're gonna have those battles.
Yeah. So I saw the 2 armored guy fight, and I was like, all right, this is what I want. So that's cool. You got the horse, so I've got like Epona vibes.
Epona.
Oh, dude, no, there's definitely going to be that played on stream for sure. That 100% is coming. So no, I was pretty excited. I've been waiting on that for a while too. I was like, please don't mess it up. Please don't mess it up. And so far, it seems like they did well. And it was cool to watch that. And like the Last of Us trailer, I watched that recently too. Yeah. And then the day before, my big hype thing for the week was the Unreal Engine. So I didn't know what was coming. I saw the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I was like, I did play a fair amount of Tony Hawk when I was younger. It's like, that was kind of fun. But like, and I was like, it's fine. Like, wasn't really blowing me away. The Unreal Engine 5 absolutely knocked my socks off. Like, not in the stream. I mean, it was really cool in the stream, but when I went back and found like the 4K stream to watch later, and even my monitor's 1440p, so I watched it on that.
Oh, so you were at level.
I was like, I was watching 1440p, and I finally found like the clean, crispy version, like on Unreal's YouTube channel.
Nice.
Just that opening section of just the light down the rocks, much less everything else, but the light on the rocks when they go in there and they move it. Digital Foundry did a cool breakdown talking about kind of how the technology works, which was cool. But in the moment, and they're like they can do freeze frames and break stuff down. I'm like, yeah, you can pick those. But I was like, in the moment, God, that looked so gorgeous. The detail. The best way I can sum this up for people who either have no idea what the hell I'm talking about or 2 don't care. When we take like a character right now, they have a certain number of polygons. The more polygons they have to said character, the harder it is because it's just more textures, more detail. It's really hard for games to render the higher detail you get. Hence why that's kind of an issue. Basically, what it sounds like they've done when they get to the statue scene in that Unreal demo, they take something that they would model for like a movie, and then they can just plop it in a game. It still gets affected by the lighting and everything at the crazy high resolution, but it's not destroying your CPU and GPU just to try and render that, because somehow it's just taking the asset from like a modeling program and it's just in the game. Trust me, that's a technical piece I do not understand at all, but in layman's terms, they take something that they don't have to dumb the textures down on. They keep it at the very high res model.
8K, by the way.
Yeah.
8K textures.
8K textures. I was like, yeah, that seems necessary. And they just put it in the game. Now, it wasn't an actual game. If you guys don't find it later, it was just a technical demo. So that's one thing. It's not a game. Sad. I was like, I wish. And I'm getting there. And again, it's Unreal Engine 5. It was running on PS5. Xbox Series X is going to use it. I mean, pretty much everyone's going to have access to Unreal Engine 5, so it's how they use it. But they just felt like demoing it there. I'm sure Sony was like, here's some money. Let's look cool.
They've also worked exclusively, in Sony's defense, this relationship with Epic and these guys has been going on for a while. And apparently, Tim Sweeney made some comments, and we talked about earlier about the, I know you'll get into the SSD aspect. About how it's outperforming. Like, basically they're trying to say that it can't be done because of the high speed SSD in the PS5. They were touting that PCs couldn't even do it based on how advanced the SSD is in the PS5.
All right,
that is something to note.
Nerd out moment. Some of you guys may read that and be like, "This is BS." I literally said all this stuff in my Discord, and somebody was like, "When you stop talking Greek, I'll get back to you." So SSDs. I wish I actually had one to pull out right now, but my computer's on. There's a lot of different speeds. Spinning hard drives is what your PS4 literally comes with. And it's a slow spinning platter hard drive. Picture those silver discs. Then we have all these that are like memory, but they're like just flash memory. And those are a little faster read-write access. And then we now have NVMe, where it goes through the PCI Express bus in your computer, and those are about 6 times as fast. And that's what's in my computer, probably what's in yours, because it's on the higher end. They're running about 3,000 gig per second. The PS5 is double that. It's 5.5 gigabytes per second compressed, which they say uncompressed, if that thing works, is like 8 to 9. But even compressed, either way, 5.5 gigabytes per second is double what is in my computer. And I have almost the fastest one you can get currently for PCIe 3.0. Now, the AMD platform of chips is PCIe 4.0. Now, there are currently that are available. One of them is, say, like a Corsair one, for a hard drive. It's at about 4.9 gigabytes per second. Still not quite there.
Still not quite there.
Now, ones that are supposed to come out in the fall are like the Samsung 980 Evo Pro 4.0. That's going to start to hit the 6, 6.5, 7s, maybe 8s later on. So those are going to be higher, but those literally don't even exist yet, and that's what the PS5 is going to ship with. So they literally future-proof their SSD, and that's why if you guys were wondering when it's like, hey, don't go buy an SSD right now and hope to just put it in the expansion port, they don't exist yet.
Exactly.
So if they have custom hardware that uses that, plus whatever else they're going to do, it's they're doing something pretty unique and cool, which is cool. And the Series X has an SSD, but they went probably more with a traditional. I think they're probably like the very high end of almost 3.0, right? The
very high end of it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's still faster than anything that's available on consoles right now. But if you're going to go, like, you know, apples to apples for SSDs, one is technically faster. One has higher CPU and GPU, and we'll see how all that stuff works out. But just the SSDs, it's a very interesting prospect. If, as you said, Tim Sweeney's like, depending on what the technology is, it may be what's making some of that stuff possible to continually load textures and stuff like that.
That's what they said.
Big nerd, man. By the way. Giant freaking nerd. So
nah, we love it, man. I love it. That's what we talk about, brother. That's why we connect.
But yeah, so I absolutely nerded out over the Unreal Engine, digging in, watched Digital Foundry's thing about that, and then that
was amazing.
Yeah, so no, if you guys haven't seen that one, that's a really cool breakdown too.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that was my we're getting into this Summer Games Fest thing now. It's kind of exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, we're like finally here, and you know, obviously things are gonna adapt because of the pandemic, but we're getting like nice little slow news bits. Each day you wake up, what's going to happen
Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to be 30 frames per second.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's shout out to Prescott. Yeah, this is nerd out season, man. Summertime is always nerd out season. That's when we would do the trips to E3. We do the trips to Guardian Con and GCX and all this stuff, you know. So this is going to be the new way now. These little video Vidocs and these, you know, specials this way. I think we're going to get a lot of this. Shout out to Forte's movie. You know what I'm saying? It's a new wave. It's a new wave, man.
So here's a question. Do you think all of this digital distribution is the kind of use this year where they're forced to do it to work out kinks? Does E3 survive? Or is this like the wave of the future, man?
It's funny you say that because I've had this conversation with King and, you know, Jeff Keighley is a powerful person. That's just not, he has a lot of connections in the industry, whether it be publishers, developers. This man can get the who's who of the gaming industry to usually co-sign what he's doing. And he has his own show now. So we know they've had the disagreements with the ESA and the direction of E3. You know, obviously we know with this pandemic, I think it's going to come down to one, how successful these smaller shows and this Game Fest stuff does, right? Also, if it does well, and companies are sitting themselves and looking at those statements, those books, and they realize, hey, we didn't have to spend money for a booth and presents, and you know, it could start signaling the end. You know what I'm saying? So we have to see. I think I will say this in E3's defense. Obviously, I'm a big E3 supporter, but I will say this: if it continues, like, no disrespect to the PS5 thing, but a lot of people were not happy with the presentation after the actual demo was completed, right? After the tech demo was amazing, right? Everybody was like that. But then some people did not like,
the four guys talking?
Yeah, the Keighley and friends in somebody's attic, like they wasn't about that. So what that we have to pay attention to is that if customer satisfaction is there with the presentations, because that's also a factor. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's in control, but if people don't like the format, then that could be something that people are like, okay, I don't know. And if the ESA does something comparable, you know, to combat that, it's gonna put it this way: the ESA is in trouble, but they're not going to go down without a fight. Is really what my general point is. That's all I'm trying to say. That's so fair. Look for them to try to fight back. It may be futile, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, at this point, you've got a lot of companies also that are having to try and make this stuff up from home, kind of on the fly.
Yeah,
when they had, like, I mean, Microsoft specifically had a presentation for on stage. Sony was going to do something different, and even their plans of, like, doing a lot of displays around the world and a bunch of, like, in, you know, smaller location. none of that stuff is happening. So a lot of plans have gone out the window either way.
Yes.
So more of an organized, like, hey, here's this like 4K high rig setup, and we can switch with like displays and switch over to the guys at the conference, breaking the, like, there would be more production quality if the online stuff happens in the future, which would probably be what some people are looking for, as you said, with like Keeley talking to like, you know, a table of guys, and it's like 4K streaming high res from like a T1 connection in office, all that crazy stuff.
Not the connections we're seeing now.
Oh man, have you seen the meme though? And it cracks me up because I am one of those. It's like the guy, you know, that's the meme that's like the one guy who actually streams on Twitch, because it's like crappy webcam, crappy webcam, crappy webcam. Have like the USB mic, high res with like green screen. That meme is so true. Because my wife used mine for like ones too. Yeah, it was funny.
That's hilarious. It's levels to it, man. For real. But we'll see, man. We're in a transitionary phase, and we got to see how this thing's gonna play out.
I think the other thing that'll be interesting is this is the console launch year. If you were gonna have an E3 still survive, this was the year to make the big blowout for the consoles and stuff. And even if Sony wasn't going to be there, Microsoft still had that huge presence they were going for with like the EAs and everybody else. Now that the big console launch is going to be done, what's your big pull next year? That's the hard one.
You're asking tough questions, man.
I know, man. That's
a tough one. That's literally, the pandemic came at the worst time for the ESA.
Yep.
Because they were already getting backlash, and now nobody can even go to what was scheduled. So, yeah, it's uncertain territory, man. I don't know what the future holds, but it definitely is not in favor of the ESA. I can't say that. It's not in favor. Shall see.
Well, that's pretty much all that happened this week, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Welcome to the last word. I'm Lord Cognito. You can catch me at... No. We're here
now
for the
we
fire.
Gotta get into Destiny. Okay, so before we get to the TWAB, which is the topic of topics, it's for the background. If you guys are watching this on audio, just go check out the preview of the video, because I picked the background for a reason. But yeah, so we got a quest.
Yeah.
So actually, honestly, before this even started, my hope was that Guardian Games was going to end. We have the last 4 weeks of the season. I made a video about it. It said, hey, and more. What could happen in this final 4 weeks of who knows what's going on? So I was like, all right, maybe we'll get a little cinematic. We'll get a tease about like us Rasputin and Zvala and the ships and Progress and the Almighty. None of that happened. Zero. Basically, apparently, all the public events that we've been doing, Rasputin was sleeping through. And now we have a quest, which we got from Anna Bray. So you log in, you're like, hey, go check out Anna Bray. There's a quest. Whatever it said, I don't remember. And the quest is called The Lie.
Yes. Oh, yeah. How fitting.
Take me through your login to figuring out what was actually happening versus what was required, and when you figured out the numbers. Like, I want to know your thought process as this whole thing kind of played out in your head and just seeing what was there, because I knew mine was live. People have seen that. I want to know yours, because I texted you and I just got like kind of a quick emotion. So I want to know like what was your progress of like, oh, a new quest, oh, this how we I want to know how it went through with you. So let me break it down.
Literally the same thing, man. I'm like, okay, look, we know the calendar. You know, there was nothing scheduled. It was very strange, or, you know, on the roadmap. I'm like, all right, let's log in. Obviously, we've been treated to things like Osiris pointing guns at Rasputin, you know, little things, you know, obviously Doritos appearing more, you know, something exciting. So there was a little bit of excitement. Your boy jumps in, go to Anna Bray, okay, you know what I'm saying? Actually, before I do it, I want to give a shout out to somebody actually real quick. So I told you this before offline, which was super dope. I went to the tower to log in, and this has never happened to me, y'all. Like, I was so blown away. I go to the tower and on PC on Steam, and someone goes, Cognito, is that you? And I'm like, he's like, are you for the Last Word podcast? I love you guys. I'm like, yo, salute. So we do a little, you know, dance central going on. I was like, yo, so salute to, I believe his name was Ultimate Bear. Salute to you, because cool. You made my day, bro. Like, for real. Like, I've never had that happen. I still consider myself no one in this community. So to have anyone come up to me and say, yo, I'm a fan of what you guys do, like, salute. So I had to shout you out, man. You made my day.
That's awesome.
So after that great
It's only happened to me a few times, and it's just like every time I'm like, they're like, are you the? And I'm like, You know who I am. Like, I don't care how big you are. That still feels good.
Bro, it felt good.
So
He's like,
awesome.
look, he's like, I'm a fan. I'm like, yo, salute, man. It was dope. So, and we did what's the latest
staff,
emote?
like you shall not pass or whatever.
We did the Iron Lord. I put the staff down. We stood next to each other. And I was like, yo, that was dope. Anyway, enough of our fanboyiness. So then I said, okay, let me go to Anna Bray. Okay, cool. And yeah, she gave out a quest. And then I said, all right, what do we got to do? What's going on? We already know what this is for, right? Can I say what it's for? Can I spoil that, or am I not allowed to spoil that? Am I still not allowed to talk about that?
Very not really spoilers coming up in 3, 2, 1.
He got me on NDA. He got me on NDA.
No, you can go. You can go ahead because I think everybody knows. If you don't, heads up.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Fellwinter's Lie quest. Like,
yes.
You know what this is. So we get it, and then I read about public events and Seraph towers. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't sound fun, but for the sake of science, let us try to see. And I get there, and salute to not getting no randos getting together on one of these things. That's another thing. We're not gonna trying to organize when you don't have any matchmaking is another thing. So this is escalation protocol all over again in a way.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the percentages, and I'm like, really? We're not making much progress here, right? So I sat there and I calculated, well, I wonder how long this would take for the entire community to do such a thing. And then I promptly said, you know what, E? I'm logging out. I'm not doing this. I don't care about this. I was like, this is time-gated foolishness that we just came off of Guardian games. And trust me, I did not want to do Guardian games. Not only because times were dominating, it was already a foregone conclusion, but I looked at it and I'm like, I don't like this level of busy work. Switch to this class, switch to this specific class, do this specific thing, do this. It was just annoying. If it wasn't for Heir Apparent, I wouldn't have done it, but I got Heir Apparent. So now I'm waiting for something and I'm like, no. Like, yeah, shout out to Mr. Aries. Like, you do 2 events and the percentage says 0. I'm like, this is forceful time gating. And I want nothing to do with it. So I said, you know what? And shout out to the community. I want to shout out some people. Shout out to Pyro. Shout out to Paul Tassi. Shout out to people were like, they on my time. They like, yo, let's fail this. And let's see if this thing goes on. That's the new viable.
So that was, I mean, mine was pretty similar to yours, Aries. I don't even know if he was with me in the beginning or we got together later. He might have been with me in the beginning and we log in. First thing I wanted to check was the pyramid ships. We're 40 plus now, by the way.
Right.
I think one's on the other side of Neptune. There's like 4 others there. Not a lot of progress this week, so a little less on that front. And then I'm like, hey, okay, here's the quest. Go to Anna, get this, go do public events. I think we did IO first for whatever reason. We're just like, all right, let's try IO. And we do it, and we're like, is everybody still 0?
Yeah.
Seriously, still 0?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's doing the whole, like, John Travolta meme looking around the room. Like, what the hell's going on? Why is this not working? And then we did figure out where you could go in and check with, like, braytech.org, and you can finally see, because, like, dim, it was classified, and you can see the number as opposed to, like, the bar. And we finally saw the number, because some people in my chat were saying, I was like, how are you guys seeing, like, 3 million or 9 million? I was like, I just want to see it somewhere. Somebody finally told me braytech.org, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It was 3 million public events for each place. Now, in comparison, so this is why, I mean, and I think Aries said this came out at the worst possible time that this quest could have come out, because people have been bitching about bounties for all season long, and then it's been a big discussion. It came up in the TWAB 2 weeks ago. Bounties are things where it's like, guys, we're kind of getting tired of this. So the grindiness is already coming in. Then Guardian Games comes in, the very specific bounties. Everybody already thinks the Titan math is screwy. And then all this still is happening. And then we're like, okay, so what do we have to do now? We have to do 3 million public events. And most people are just like, if I could do like the actual, like, throw your desk in the air thing.
Yeah.
That's what people are just like, screw it, I'm out, I'm done, I'm signing. And honestly, like, as the progress was going, because what I did at first, I was trying to check the math. Like, hey, how many did we do in an hour? If this holds, what's the math going to be like? How long is it going to take to finish this thing as a community. I was like, it is 9 million. Let's see what this takes. And I was like, okay, at this pacing, it looks like it might take a week for EDZ. So maybe this is going to be 3 weeks and it's going to wrap towards the end. But I was like, hey, this is if this pacing holds. And then I was like, I was even streaming for like 3 hours and I was like, I got to take a break. Because I wasn't honestly sure like what I was going to do. I was like, I logged in. I was hoping to see a cinematic, maybe working on some quest steps I could go through, get a new gun. None of that I knew was going to happen that day. So I go through the whole, like the math, and I was like, okay, fine. Took a break, did some stuff, hung out with my wife. I think we ended up binging a show that day, maybe, which is weird.
You were productive. That's good.
Shout out, yeah, definitely very productive. Shout out to, by the way, the Netflix show, Never Have I Ever.
Okay.
Honestly, a fun little show. Like, it's 10 episodes. Paul Tassi had said something about it, and I told my wife, hey, do you want to try this? We were at a lunch break. We watched like 3 or 4 because they're only like 30 minutes. So you actually go pretty quick. And then we just sat down, finished it that night.
Bro, this sounds so much more interesting than what Destiny's offering. Continue.
It's Dude, a fun amazing, little. Man. It's
You're
like
piquing
kind of
my interest.
It's like it's a teenage, little bit of a rom-com type thing, but it was just like it was written by Mindy Kaling. It was just well done. Kind of didn't take itself too seriously at some points. Had decent emotions. Like. It was a fun little show. Like, I mean, it had some cliche moments in high school and stuff, but honestly, like, I got done and I was like, that was pretty damn good. And we finished in a day. But I was like, so I woke up the next morning and I was like, okay, let's see how much we did in like 18 hours, whatever it was from when it went live to now. And I was like, and by pacing, that thing when I thought it was like a week had slowed way down. So now the amount of progress we had made in that amount of time was like, this is going to take us like, at least 2 weeks just to do EDZ. And and that's where my mind started to go to, and a lot of people did too. Are we supposed to fail this? I honestly wondered if we were, because we have the Almighty coming. There has been a little bit of a leak, potentially. Heads up, this is actually a mini spoiler.
Yes.
In case you guys haven't heard, I'm only going to say this for like 10 seconds. So spoiler in 3, 2, 1. Potentially the Almighty, maybe a chunk of it crashes and like scrapes up the tower. So that's like a little rumor out there. I was like, maybe it gets too close when you blow off a wing and it kind of splits and part of it lands or something. And I was like, are we supposed to fail this thing? And I honestly wondered with Fellwinter's Lie, and you see the stuff about Fellwinter and the name of the quest, and is Bungie trolling us? And maybe they want to, like, you know, things haven't happened like this before. They're trying to mess with us. I'm like, maybe we are all, maybe it's like, it's futile. Maybe our efforts are futile. Maybe Rasputin can't save us, or... So that was weird. And then, I don't know when the tweet was like, was it within 24 hours? Or like, it was 4 o'clock that afternoon, that kind of tweet came out. It didn't take too long. Bungie has decided to change the progress of the public events count for 5 times during the week. And then 10 times on the weekend. They said, they said this was not supposed to take this long.
Interesting, huh? Shout out to Ironside. He said he thinks that the wings of the Almighty are going to land and take out the Titan statue from Guardian.
That's it. That's the only thing that's going to get hit.
Ooh,
you guys are just trying to kill Zavala. I see how it is.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, man. I thought that was an interesting adjustment. I don't know. Just the timing of it seemed a little curious to me based on, let's be real, the backlash that people... Twitter was lit. Destiny community was lit.
Oh my gosh, so many people were like, I think MTash made a video was like, this quest, it wasn't this quest sucks, but it basically was. I forget exactly his phrasing on his thumbnail. I thought about making a video, but I was like, I want to wait just to see. And they did change, but it's still, and this is kind of the issue. Like, the hate was real. And I was the Mela, it's like, for sure. I mean, people, you just hit the community wrong at like the perfectly wrong point. Did you just like, the community's just like, dude, I'm done. I don't even care. Season 11 could be amazing, but you messed up. And the biggest thing is, even now, the 5x and the 10x multipliers, we're at 65% on the EDZ as of this morning, which is good. So we're making progress. Probably going to be about a third done with the 10x. And maybe if people are like, all right, the community's like, all right, let's screw it. Let's push through the weekend, see if we can knock this stuff out. Maybe it's done this weekend. It's still the fact that I would love to know the person that said, even if it was 9 million and there were 3 million players active right now and it wasn't going to take that long, why do you think we want to repeatedly do public events?
E, you're a nice gentleman. You're a kind soul.
I have my moments.
We gotta call it how we gotta call it. This is horrible content. This is the worst. This is an insult because, again, you just came off Guardian. This is not knowing the temperature, and also we give them the excuse. We know what the resources, but
I was like, this is a point where they were pot committed. They couldn't switch what they had planned. That's the problem.
I get that, but if you're planning out your roadmap and you just had a slog for how long was Guardian Games? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How long was it?
3
weeks, right? And you really don't add substantial content. It's just really, grind for this reward and the bounties, which we're tired of. Okay, fine. And then to put that, like Ari said, right behind this, man, this is my thing. In future, moving forward, this cannot be acceptable content, man. This whole fake, hey community, let's get together, let's do this. We're gonna bind together and do this rudiment. No. They got away with it. With was it Imperium Foundation, Refractor kinda, but there was some things you were kinda
But like you
doing.
could invest, you could get your bounties, you'd be getting a lot of guns for rewards. Like you could do the math. There was the stock market, like all
and
of that
it was
stuff.
building towards trials. You're like, okay, you get the thematic of it, and you, like you said, we were farming god rolls. I mean, we're standing in front of that damn statue in the tower for God knows. But again, this right here, the most mundane, simplistic, do what you already was doing at the start. Seraph Towers. Just keep doing that, y'all. And come back to us with like, no, that is not unacceptable content. And that's why they got the backlash. Shout out to PC Gamer. So they had one of the funniest titles I've ever seen to an article. You know what I'm saying? I was so jealous. I'd do Lords of Gaming that night. I was jealous. They was like, Destiny... it was something to the effect like 9 million people. They want 9 million people to commit to this event, and no one could care less. Yeah. Destiny players say no, we're not doing it. And I'm like, yeah, it was a consensus backlash, and sadly to say, shout out to Maddie. I'm with you, Maddie. As a result, Season of the Worthy is now going into uncharted territory of the worst season in history of that. Like, it is literally cementing its hold. We thought it could. We said, yo, Osiris is in trouble for the worst DLC, the worst content. Right now, Season of the Worthy is not worthy. It is not worthy of anyone's time. And here we go again. So yeah, man, I don't even know how you save it. With they gotta link it. We know we're gonna get this Felwinter's live. I mean, at this point, Felwinter's gotta come out and we gotta get a cinema with him. Something's gotta happen. Like this right here, this is bad. This is bad.
So the other issue that made this even worse from all the stuff that you're saying, kind of just two-sided ways the way the public event changed. So we had 6 weeks when we opened the towers first. The public event was the normal public event. Do the public event, you were getting like, what was it, like 14% or something?
Yeah.
It wasn't too crazy at first. We were going through, and it was like, hey, you got to do 4 for your weekly bounty. All right.
Yep.
Then we're like, hey, how do we get this like almighty title? Well, it switched. Now, the lore behind the public event was, as we were doing the first 6 weeks, we were building all these little satellites, and even Bife has a good video saying, hey, like if you go down, you can actually see them stored down there. The little satellites.
Yeah, I saw his video. Yeah, that was good.
So we're actually building all the satellites that eventually we're going to need to use. So it flips, instead of each public event like building a satellite and sending it down into the ground into the bunker, what it's doing is actually now the little rocket comes out and you'd actually see it launch up into the air, which actually looks kind of cool. But when that happened, the public event got harder.
Yes.
You had 9% progress. The timer was very tight. We had like giant bosses walking around. And the biggest issue with public events, as you said, we came through this from the escalation protocol times. There's no matchmaking. You have randos and blueberries that don't know what the hell's going on. You can only yourself control 3 people in an instance unless you do the crazy like, hey, you're public. Can I join you and my friends invite with you? And this entire mess that we went through 2 years ago or longer. Like, we've been down this road before. How we haven't learned from this whole public... Like, we had Vex Offensive. We had the Sundial. How did we go from those to this? Like, if I had to go run Sundial 9 million times, I would have much rather done that.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, man. Yeah.
You nailed it. That's the... Again, this is... And we love this game. And we know the nature of live service games is peaks and valleys. But what I don't accept is, what's that expression? The definition of insanity is repeating the same mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Doing the same actions and expecting different results. Result. Yep. Yeah, that's what's going on here, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, bro, like, you cannot in good conscience think that we are going to be excited for this. So the only reason, this is my new theory. My new theory is they're falling on their sword. They're like, yo, we don't have nothing. It has to be.
It does, yeah.
There's no way they sat in the room and said, look, y'all, we're going to do this Guardian games. And then right after that grind, we're going to give them these public events for like 3 weeks. There's no way they sat there and said this. They literally said, all right, look, here's the bulletin board. Here's the assets. Here's the sad news, y'all.
How many people got to work on this? We have 2.
Yep, we got 2. B team, come to the room.
No.
Yes, B team. And then the B team came out with the little suits on, and they were with the bees on them.
I'm so sorry, Bungie. I'm sorry, Bungie.
B for Bungie. B for Bungie.
Oh my God. And they came out. Way to try and save that. Holy crap.
And they said, yo, this is what we can do. We can do. They said, yo, on Zoom. Yo, Aries is stupid. Shut up, silly. That was hilarious. They did the Zoom call. They said, this is what we going to do, y'all.
You see the Zoom things pop up? Bloop, bloop.
And they said, look, they going to be mad with us. They going to be livid with us. But we got so much fire for them in the fall. Because you saw what Luke Smith says. Luke Smith, he
says we're not prepared. Yeah.
Yeah, he knew he got the heat in the fall, but we just ain't got nothing right now. So we just going to have to, they going to be mad. We'll take our public lashing. And that would be it. And this is what's going. That's the only logical thing that makes sense. Because there's no way. They are too smart. I'm not going to disrespect them, because they are too smart to know how we would react. They would know how we're going to react to this. So this is what this is. We just got to say, look, and I don't get upset at people anymore when they say, yo, bro, I'm out. I will see you on the next expansion.
Yeah.
Or I'll
next
see you
season, next expansion.
Cathalion,
I'm taking a break for a few months. Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, because we weren't prepared for 9 million times. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is, man. And it's okay. Take the break. We know what's going on here. We're all Guardians. We've been around this block. We've played this game for how long? Since 2014 this game existed? You know what I'm saying? We've seen stuff like this. But yeah, this is a low point, and it's got to just be the resources and stuff like that. Because there's no way they do this to us purposely. There's no way.
It does feel like a pinch in resources. This is what this is like the lighter season in the spring. And that's what even Cathalion said is like, hey, it's like, I know these spring seasons can be light. Love the fall stuff. Can't wait to see what's coming. Luke Smith replies with the 4 infamous words for now that we're going to be waiting to see if it lives up to. But seriously, what?
He's so mean. He's shooting his shot. He said, he's being mean. He said, I'm not sure about that, Cog. They didn't seem smart enough to know how we take artifact power.
I mean, there have been this whole season from literally trials, the bounties, the bits, the guardian. Like, this whole season has just been just a stumble after trip over bump in the road, and it's been rough, man. This has been this has been just interesting choices by them to say, hey, and then it's like, how do you launch trials without adept weapons, and you think artifact power is not gonna get completely screwed over? Like,
remember when they started, and your first thing you said to me, he was like, you see the requirement for entry? How's that gonna stop the hackers? Then we seen the no adept. You was like, how do you feel about that? We literally were calling out the problems when the thing was first announced, and we were just like,
and they all made it in,
and they made it in. So it's just like
cheating and hackers. Like, that's what I was like, dude, give me an 8-hour, give me a quest that's so long that you just don't want to repeat it. Like, and that's like, and you do it once, and your account is just tagged as trials worthy. It's fine. You never have to worry about it again. You could have launched that on Tuesday. People have had 3 days to work on that crap. Trials out on Friday. The hardcore would have been in there. Everybody else could have been in there a week later. Cool. So it's been a very biggest thing is I have to say is I want to see what happens with the Almighty whenever this is done, and I want to see what happens with the pyramid ships as well. Those are the two things at this point for me that are going to give this season a hint of silver lining, but barely even that, because the story at least has some potential for what we're going into next season in the fall. So most of the activities this season did not play well, and that's putting it extremely nicely.
Extremely nicely.
Season 11 potentially could be cool if, like, you know, the hopes of stuff getting crazy. And the fall expansion, as Blackwing said, fall expansion has to be massive at this point. It has to be like, if you literally have like the one public event, dude, be like, okay, you got this. All right, Zoom call. We're looking at you. We got this. Fall expansion has got to be using like everybody right now to make that thing happen. So that's the big stuff.
Yeah, shout out Sanity. He said this is Daddy Bungie using the belt on us. Facts. Oh, shout out to Aries. Quick thoughts on COD doing SMS verification for cheaters and people trying to... Really? Are they doing two-factor authentication?
Wow.
If that's the case, salute. Sign me up for that, Bungie. Hey, much security. If that's true, man, yeah, that would be cool. I have no problem with SMS verification. I mean, two-factor is really important, so they prevent people from doing new accounts. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's all I got with that, man. So what nothing else going on in TWAB, right?
TWAB was real light, nothing major. I mean, usually the expansion, the season stuff is like a week or two before. Actually, I was wondering, before we actually dive too deep.
Yeah, what's up?
Date-wise, so the season ends on the 9th of June.
Yes.
For Tuesdays, we have the 19th, the 26th, the 2nd, and the 9th. So we have 3 more full weeks. When do you see us getting the official announcements for this season that comes, like season 11?
For the season 11? Ooh.
I'm trying to remember how tight it was before. Was it like the week before?
The week before.
I swear we're like, are we really going to wait?
Yeah.
Wasn't it
we're
like...
We're going to wait. That's the vibe.
So like the week of the 2nd, maybe? Like we're going to be in June before we know.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the very minimum, you know, we'll see how the Fellwinter thing plays out. Well, from a lore perspective, obviously there's a lot. Shout out to Bife, he knows the deal. You know what I'm saying? As far as the connections with said person and said something, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that reveal, I want to know if they're going to actually tackle it. But other than that, they usually just that week before, then they lead us into, you know, post Almighty, right? You know, and how we're gonna have to deal with the next thing, you know. So yeah, I don't anticipate anything other than that very last week knowing something, and then it's like, okay, y'all, now we're ready. Here's the next pending threat or issue, and that's it. You know, at least that's what I see.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was trying to figure out in my head. I was like, when does all this stuff wrap up? But yeah, going into season of this one. Like, we're like, when is this info coming? We didn't know the power level till like the week before. It was a while. So yeah, we got a couple weeks again with not a whole lot on there. Season of the Worthy trailer dropped March 3rd. And this season started March 10th?
Yeah.
Because they usually do the drops on a Wednesday, usually, right? Yeah, that was Tuesday. So yeah, it was a week before. So
yeah, Ironside's hoping to see. Yeah, I mean, you know, we were accelerated as far as Doritos, so but then didn't they, well, I say they slowed down a little bit, but they anticipate the hit next season, based on your calculations, sir?
So, I mean, by pacing, roughly, I mean, we're at Neptune. You've just got Uranus and Saturn, and we got 3 more weeks. So if they just kind of work their way forward, they're bound to get if they have any consistency, unless they just park at Neptune, they're close. Now, if they park at Neptune for 3 months and then they come in the fall, obviously that's convenient timing. But if they keep coming forward, they should be around Saturn by the time the season ends, roughly. So that's the big question.
No doubt.
So yeah, I mean, the TWAB starts, it's like Guardian Games came to a close, Hunters won the first day, but Titans showed up in force to completely dominate the rest of the event. The Warlocks took home silver, by the way, so you did get your silver by getting the middle tier the whole time. So I thought the silver one actually looked good for you guys too.
Yeah, I look fine. I actually like it. I don't mind it. I mean, the gold would have been nice.
Final Iron Banner of the season is live. This is the point in the season when I'm like, I don't know if I care. Like the
first Iron Banner, yeah, I didn't.
The 4 pinnacles, I'm like, I could, but literally in 4 weeks they're useless.
They're useless.
We literally get a preview down below. The power level's going up.
And not to beat a dead horse, the only reason why I would do that for the pinnacles would be for pinnacle content such as the Grandmaster Nightfalls, which we found out, you know, we're not getting much as a reward.
Yeah, there's not a lot of rewards in there, at least as of right now. So
sounds like, Iron Man, I love you, but yeah, no. Continue.
The community has been tasked with helping Rasputin by completing Seraph Tower events and are currently working on the objectives in EDZ, the Moon, and IO. We've seen feedback that the tower events are too difficult and that it's hard to wrangle up enough people to join the cause. We have had some server-side we have made some server-side changes to lower the difficulty and to help alleviate the frustrations and increase your success rate. We made an error when calculating how many completions were required. What, by a factor of 10? Sorry. Somebody moved a decimal point.
Yes.
It was supposed to be 300,000. It was 3 million. We're sorry. So yesterday we introduced bonus multipliers. You can read more of the detail changes here. We covered all that to death. Now, if you thought the lie quest was gonna rustle some feathers and make people mad, oh man, did the Twitters, the YouTube, did things explode yesterday to a whole level? Oh my god!
Yes.
Now,
yes,
I will say in advance, we've talked about this once already. Everybody should have had their one conniption fit already and been done, but we're doing it all over again. So here we are. Would you like to break the news to the to our listeners who likely already know what's going on, but maybe they don't?
Yeah, man. Max power level. Should I start?
Go get in there.
Yeah, man. So basically, Luke spoke about these plans in February about what was going on, and Destiny Dev team has more details on how it's going to work. Today, we're going to talk about the infusion system, what's coming to Destiny 2, the changes that's going to be visible starting Season 11, but won't start impacting your arsenal until Season 12. More on that in a bit. So they want the sandbox to feel interesting, dynamic, all that good stuff. They feel weapons are the primary way players interact with the world. Season over the season, they want players to discover new weapons that feel powerful, interesting new perks, powerful builds, and the lot. So the changes to the infusions we're talking about today are designed to promote the following. We want you to, more frequently earn and enjoy powerful and standout gear. Right now, if your legendary weapon isn't better than the current best in class, there is no reason to replace your existing weapon with it. Then it says if a new legendary weapon is better than current best in class, we risk power creep. Sounds familiar? Removing challenge from the game and making the item mandatory / the only option for challenging activities.
Shout out Reckoning.
Shout out to Reckoning. Both above points apply equally to new bonds and perks. Then they says powerful weapons can be error defining, but eventually those errors need to end. So that new eras can begin. We want strong weapons. And he goes on with that. We're going to talk about the powerful gear out the meta. They talk about we can't solve this by just making weapons better than previous ones. This will steadily lower time to kill in both PvP, PvE until the sandbox is either fun or tactical. Then they go on about the meta a little bit more in that debate. They said they believe Destiny is at its best when you have new desirable things to pursue and when you have active debates with your clanmates about which of these new things to bring into a raid and what's going to be hot in trials next season. So then they continue. So they have the legendary weapon as far as the max power level can reach through infusion. Now here's the key sentence, y'all. where I for Cognito breathed a little sigh. Exotics will not have a max power level. What? Praise be
they
the
said
Almighty.
That before, so yes.
Praise be the Traveler. But anyway, as I continue, the max power level for these items will be set at the power cap attainable 3 seasons after its release season. All right, so this means all legendary gear has a 1-year span of time during when it can be used in activities where being at or near the player power cap is important. So those difficult, power level activities. The max power level for these items will be visible in game in Season 11, but no items will be at their max power level at the start of Season 11. That means all your gear will be relevant in the activity. So Season 11, you good, is basically what we're saying, right? Yeah. Season 11, we good. So at the start of Season 12, weapons and armor released in, here's the key statement, y'all, Seasons 1 through 8 will have a max power level at the Season 11 player power cap. Gear from Season 9 through 12 will all be infusible to a new player power cap for 1 year after their release, and weapons and armor. Now here's another key statement, y'all. Weapons and armor from the Last Wish and Garden of Salvation raids will be granted exceptions and will have a higher max power level.
It doesn't say no max power, but it does say higher. So I'll be curious how this actually pan out. Yeah.
higher. Yes.
All right, so we got to stop there.
Yeah, go for it. Let's stop. That was a lot. Yeah, let's stop. That was a lot to digest.
So exotics are not going to be touched. Armor and weapons, you guys, exotics, you're going to be able to use them as long as you want. That's the big one that I know some people are worried about. Cognito's over there dabbing his head with his sweat towel. He was worried. He's okay.
All right.
Now, just to clarify for some people when it comes to season numbers, because even I was talking with my chat yesterday and half of us got confused. Season 8 is Shadowkeep and Undying. Season 9 is Dawn. Season 10 is What We Are In and Worthy. And Season 11 is Redacted. So, the biggest line in this entire thing, at the start of Season 12, which is the fall expansion. Whenever that starts, that is the fall expansion, September, October. Right. Weapons and armor released from Seasons 1 through 8 will have a max power level at the and I the way they phrase this stuff, I'm like, no disrespect to Cosmo, Deej, like Dylan, but sometimes the wording on this stuff just makes it more complicated than I think it needs to be.
Yeah,
they could literally just say the max power level in Season 11 is 1060. Yes. Season 12 will be higher than that. Anything from Season 1 through 8 will never be able to get above 1060 power level.
So let's clarify what Season 8 is. Which season is
Season 8 is Shadowkeep and Undying.
Yes, and Undying. So Kevin's asking. See, Kevin was exactly.
Season 8 was Undying. Yep.
So Undying, what's gonna happen?
Undying. So stuff you got during Undying from the moon. Take like Loud Lullaby. Hand cannon from the lectern, for example. That will not be able to be infused high enough to be helpful in the fall expansion raid. Now,
how do you feel about that?
Oh, hold on. I got to give you the full list, and then we're going to talk.
Give us the list. Break it down.
All right,
like how you broke it down.
There's two lists I want to go off of. First, this is from Destiny Trials Report. I'm going to give you guys the list of weapons that are not going to be viable in Trials in Season 12. So when the fall expansion launches, these weapons will not be able to be infused high enough, most likely. It's a big jump. And that's the big thing about fall expansion. It's going to be Ultimate Bear. That's who you said?
Yeah.
He's in chat.
Oh, wait. Ultimate Bear. I shouted you out, brother. Salute, man. Salute, Ultimate Bear. Saw you in the tower. You made my day, brother. I wanted to salute you, man. I never had anything happen like that to me, so I was very happy. Thank you, brother.
So, as you guys know, like Shadowkeep was the start of them getting rid of, first off, Pinnacles. That's one. And then two, so Trials reports first, because this is where we're going to talk about changing the meta. These weapons, when the fall expansion launches, and what do we probably get, a 200 power level bump? Usually something like that. 200, 250. So if our max power level in next season is like 1050, say the fall expansion is 1250, 200 power levels definitely makes things pretty useless. These are what are not coming. Revoker, Mindbender's Ambition, Beloved, Spare Rations. Those four are gone, and that's just what I can see on Trials report. Other than that, it's exotics and Trials weapons from now. So those are already gone. So people who've been like Mindbenders farming, the Revoker is the sniper. Beloved's right behind it. Spare Rations, the hand cannon of all hand cannons, also not in Trials. Yeah, Ares was like, I just got a slightly better Mindbenders, and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Shout out to Mella. He's asking about his 21% delirium.
21%. So it's like, now we're going to go through the big boys. So we've got, I'm going to list off the major players that I can think of. Hammerhead. 21% delirium. Edgewise.
Wow.
Rocket launchers, not really as big of a deal. Wendigo.
Wendigo. Yeah.
So that's most of your heavies that are kind of like big players.
Let's do our rest in pieces. Come on, rest in peace shout outs, eulogies.
I mean, you can go Long Goodbye. You can go Twilight Oath. You can go Soul Survivor. We already covered Beloved, Revoker.
Those are hard. Those are two heavy hitters right there. Those two. Yeah, those are gone. Those are gonna be missed.
Loaded Question. Erentil.
Chill, that's my baby. Loaded Question's my baby.
Main ingredient. For Mountaintop.
Oh, well, you know what? I am dancing on the grave on that one. That one could go right in the bushes. I am so sick of that. Good. Bye-bye, Mountaintop. I will not miss you. Getting it was annoying, and dealing with it is annoying. Good. Rest in peace, shout out. It was good while it lasted. Continue. Mm-hmm. Yes, shout out. Yes, Aries. Mountaintop out of my stadia. Preach it, brother.
Yeah,
you know
seriously. Yeah,
the
Mountaintop
terror
can go.
of 3 mountaintops, 3 hunters and mountaintops. Oh, Lord.
But you got Duskrock Blues. Retold Tale. Mindbender's Ambition.
Yeah, those two are good shotguns if you didn't get the god rolls. Yeah, if you had a Mindbenders, you were rocking them other two. Facts. Continue.
For me, Subtle Calamity. My bow.
Subtle Calamity.
Not as though I use it in PvP, but like I used it in the dungeon.
Yeah, that was your dungeon.
I've used that in both dungeons actually. So
yeah, you did that with Shattered Throne with me. I remember.
I'm trying to think. Sidearms. There's no big players, but I mean things like some people like Drain.
No, bro.
Drain.
Last
Autonomous
Hope.
Autumn. Last Hope.
Yeah.
I mean,
now, let me ask you a question. Last Hope just got brought back with random
Last
roll.
Hope. Yeah, the recent random roll that is Season of Dawn. So that makes it. That'll live a little longer. That'll live a little longer. Yep, that'll live a little longer.
I was just about to say, I was like, what happens to like interference? Because technically those are old weapons.
If it has the tag, the re-release is how they like give them life. So interference is okay. Yep.
I just got the god roll one. I got full court, spike, and clown cards. I was like, yes. So I'm good.
You've got Recluse. Callous Mini Tool, Bug Out Bag, the Hero's Burden. Those are all submachine guns.
Hold on. We got to give a proper rest in peace to Recluse.
Recluse is finally done, man.
That was
I will say shout out to Pyro. He's like, just for perspective, Recluse came out 1 year ago.
I know.
That's how long it feels like it's been forever, doesn't it?
Ever, yeah.
It feels like it's been just chilling forever.
The Void submachine gun,
Exit strategy.
Multi-purpose.
That one's now Exit was Undying, but that's still not gonna be hanging around. I also forgot Python. I think that's in there, right?
Yeah.
When was Python? I'm just trying to make sure I get like listings right. Python was done, so no, that one's not quite.
Python sticks around.
So if we go down auto rifles, raids aren't there. Anybody been farming a Galliard?
Yeah, yo, that's the joint. If you don't have Summoner and you don't have,
but it's not gonna matter in the fall,
right? I mean, if Hardlight is the joint, but if you want a legendary 600, and yo, that's gonna hurt. Galliard, people have been farming Galliard crazy now.
Arc Logic, Gnawing Hunger.
That's another one, and that's 600. That's part of that. That's part of the big boy class. Summoner, Galliard, Gnawing Hunger. That's the 600. That's like the 3 horsemen right there.
I mean, I can almost skip scout rifles because they don't really matter. But Oxygen, Oxygen SR3. Yeah. How much potential you had.
Wait, question. Hold up. What happens to the 260 joint? Randy's is
gone.
Randy's is gone. I felt like we just got Randy's.
Randy's was Undying.
Yikes. I feel like Randy didn't even get a good run. That's just me. I don't know about y'all. I didn't even finish. I'm not even going to finish. You know what's funny? I'm like, I just need like maybe 50 kills or 30 kills or something like that to get Randy's to be done with it. That's the point now, man.
I mean, if you got momentum control, you could at least check the box if you're that close. But
Randy's, man.
Pulse rifles. We're going to say Bygones. Go figure. That's the one you're waiting on. Is Go Figure.
There's one. Go Figure. But
Claws of the Wolf. Horror's Least.
Nah, you know what's gonna hurt me? I know Blast Furnace on that list.
Premonition. Blast Furnace is on there.
Blast Furnace is my dad bod gun. That's my dad bod pulse.
Well, yeah, that's the same thing as mine, just a little. Yeah,
it's a better version of yours. That's those pulses are gonna hurt. Yeah.
Hand cannons is the one that's probably going to hurt a lot of people.
Ooh.
Luna's Howl. And I'm guessing Not Forgotten sits in there as well. Now, Nation of Beasts is exempt because it's a raid weapon from Last Wish. Spare Rations we talked about. Loud Lullaby. Optative.
Yeah, I remember that.
Brimmel's Dagger. Trust.
Cremos could go in the bushes.
Kindled Orchid. Your God roll, Kindled Orchid.
Oh, no, I forgot him. I got the curated. Oh, no. You know how hard it was to get the...
Better Devils, Duke, Offstringer, Rose.
Oh, straight. That's some good egg at it.
Service Revolver.
Service Revolver had a little good run when 180s was a minute. Shout out to 180s. 180s had a little run. Service Revolver had a good run.
And there's probably stuff that I've missed, but the general idea is if you guys actually go through and look at the age of some of these weapons, I mean, not considering the blues and the greens and the whites that really don't matter, if you go legendaries, typically if you look at the list, there might be, 30 or something of some of these weapons. You're going to be able to use in season 12, you're going to be able to use about 5 of these things.
Yeah, pretty much.
The lists get real small. If you look at bows, 2. No, there's literally you literally have Point of the Stag and the 2 raid bows. So if you didn't raid, you have 1 bow.
You have 1 bow. Yeah.
1 bow. And the only way you get the kinetics are from the raids.
So delete my vote is what I'm hearing.
And shout out to those who were in my stream last night. I actually did a vault purge yesterday. I know some people are proud. It's been a long time coming, but I am sub 300. So I'm 297 out of 500 right now, and I haven't even got to energy weapons yet.
Salute. Man.
Haven't even done the energy weapons
Clean
yet.
that addict up.
So I know that's a big, long list, but I wanted to try and go and give you guys all the weapons, the bigger ones you might have thought of. Basically, your pinnacles that you had in your first couple of years, a lot of those long-time ones, the stuff you've been farming in a lot of places. Most of that stuff is not going to be carried into aspirational content is the best way I can say it. Now, you can still use all of those guns I listed, everything in the game, all the old content, old raids, it's all still going to be available. What is not going to be carried into? New raids, new dungeons, pretty much your Nightfalls that are probably Master and above, or pretty much anything above that base level, because that level seems to increase.
Question.
Hold on, just going to go through the list.
Oh, please do.
So for Crucible, you have Iron Banner and Trials. The weapons are not going to be in there. Gambit still matters when it comes to invading. So depends on where you care. You just may not care about invading, or you just might not be powerful when you invade. So technically, you could use your 21% delirium while you kill enemies, but if somebody invades and you shoot them with them, you're going to be shooting them with packing peanuts.
Yep.
So that's Gambit, and then for PvE content, you're going to have whatever aspirational seasonal content is. So picture Heroic Menagerie. That one would probably be difficult. You're going to have the Nightfalls at whatever high level you've got there. Raids, dungeons, and obviously whatever they introduce in the fall, kind of like Master Nightmare hunts. I imagine those are no longer going to be Pinnacle in the fall. Probably have something new. So it's in-game activities only that this really affects. You still have patrols. You can play control, survival, whatever, with any of the weapons that you've had forever, and it's not going to change anything. Basic strike playlist. Go back in there with your 21% delirium and your spare rations and your recluse, and you're still totally fine. But just if you want to do a Grandmaster, you can't take that stuff with you.
The real stuff, but anyway.
So
the real stuff, the real content.
There's been a lot of stuff in chat. People have had some opinions about this out there on Twitter. There have been quite a few things. So before we even talk about the other part of this, what were your thoughts when you hit this point? Because we've talked about this before, we've had our debates and stuff, but it seems to be sinking in a bit more for people as it's getting a bit more real.
This is what,
they gave you a real time when they were like, hey, 9 to 15 months. They gave it a year.
Right. Look, at the end of the day, and this is what I warned people, what happened, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna hit, you know what I'm saying? And again, remember what I told people about investment, right? Investment. Players want their time sinks invested and respected. So when this happens, you know what I mean? And again, for the record, me and you came to an agreement here with Legendary, right? Even though I didn't like it, we finally met in the mix after long, spirited debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very. We weren't happy. We weren't happy with each other during that thing, but we got through it. It was a character building moment for both of us, and we got through it. But at the end of the day, a lot of people have to understand this. and I say this in gaming community as well, overall, we represent the hardcore. People don't understand. The hardcore represent, yeah, he did debate Blackman. The hardcore represents a small percentage of Destiny. It's just that we are the loudest, we are the most knowledgeable, but we are not the most. So what happens is when the word spreads, right, there's going to be that, I don't want to say fear mongering, but there's going to be that impact of, yo, they're taking our guns away. And this is what I was trying to get across to you guys. And you even got some hardcore, which surprised me. I thought all of the hardcore were on your side, E, to be honest. You know, and you see, you know, you told me, yeah, apparently you saw what Drewski said something you said. And obviously we've seen Destin Legary. We're seeing big figures pushing back. Like, oh, so this game is going to be useless. Why should I play it now? And I knew that was going to happen. Now, do I overall think this is better for the game? Yes. Do I overall think power creep is an issue and you just can't keep... The points they're making are absolutely correct. Thank God they didn't do exotics, because you thought they were mad now. Remember what I told you? Exotics would have been something else. That would have took it to a whole nother level of things.
There's a meme of somebody torching the Destiny servers.
Oh, yeah. It'd have been crazy. You know, so at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? It's a culture shock. It's a change. We will survive. We survived. What was it? Lord of Wolves. Wasn't Lord of Wolves when they, or yep. was when they brought back Infusion? I forget. One of them took it away. I can't. Which one is the?
I mean, they've done this before. We did Taken King, where stuff went away. We've gone into Destiny. We've gone into Destiny 2, where the tower exploded. This isn't the first time your investment over the course of time has been removed.
Right. Absolutely. But again, we are the hardcore. We can adjust better than the rest. But if you tell a guy that's a casual guy or a guy that's coming in Destiny, hey man, you know, whatever, and they can be like, what you mean this is going away? What the hell is Bungie doing? And then the whole thing snowballs into what it snowballs.
So like the best way I can describe this to try and give it something, as content is released,
right?
Basically, whatever strategies are built for a raid will always be viable. Because the weapons technically are not going to go away, and they're not going to be able to be infused past that content.
Question.
What?
My only thing is, I don't know, we get to that, is they mentioned two specific... Did we get to that part where we mentioned two specific raids yet? We didn't get to that part yet, right?
Yeah, you said weapons and armor from Last Wish and Garden of Salvation raids will be granted exceptions, and will have a higher max power level. We just don't know what that is yet.
Okay, here's my thing. What's up with Leviathan?
So some people would say Last Wish and Garden of Salvation are based on paywalls. You have to buy Forsaken. You have to buy Shadowkeep. Leviathan's free. So that's one that if they do sunset those, that's free content now. So potentially, and it's also not random rolls. So it was a different time for two different things.
Right. So here's my thing. They at least need to reissue those, because what's the purpose of even running those? What is the incentive to run? That's the only negative I have. Everything else I'm with. I thought about it. I'm like, it's very interesting they use those two. So I'm like, yes, you're making a good point.
Unless Leviathan's driving out of the solar system. And that's a big lore narrative question mark, and that I have no idea. One, so it being free and not random rolls versus the other two.
Are they taking raids away? Is pinnacle content removing?
It's not even pinnacle anymore. It would be. That would be strange.
Get it?
No, that's
three raids.
I know.
That's Leviathan, Spire, Stars.
Yeah,
bro. I
think it's mostly because those are free content now, and they don't have random rolls. So being as they're year one, I don't think they want to continue to let people use stuff from year one. As people buy Forsaken, they get the Last Wish raid. As they buy Shadowkeep, they get Garden of Salvation. I think they're trying to keep the paid, because somebody said it to me yesterday, and that's actually what made sense. They are of the random roll nature, and they are also something currently that is bot content. I think that is why those are going to be able to live longer. And then Last Wish, still being like the oldest, is probably going to be the one that expires first.
Shout out to the chat. Scourge of the Past.
Scourge of the Past and Crown are not listed. Now, that was an interesting thought. I know.
With sunsetting raids? Cognito has a problem. if this is, I'm trying to keep
sunsetting,
it calm.
raid, but they're not going to get you. You can still get the weapon, but it can only go up to 1060.
Raid weapons.
Yeah, some of them. It's legendaries. Anarchy's still going to hold. 1,000 Voices still going to hold. Teraba.
What about, wait.
Are they special to you?
What about Acreus?
That's an exotic. That's an exotic.
Okay, you're right
exotic.
About it.
All the exotics
What about Midnight Coup?
That's a static roll. Inaugural Address is a static roll.
We can't get a reissue?
Year one.
We can't get a reissue, though?
That might be something they do later to revive Leviathan. But right now, it's not. Right now, it's not. People should not be using Midnight Coup anymore anyway. I know somebody in chat literally just said it.
My thing is, what is the purpose of this? My thing is, everything is fine, but we're crossing a new now territory with raids. That is surprising to me. That's the curveball I didn't expect.
It's legendary. It's legendaries. That's been, people forget, like, legendaries encompasses a lot of weapons. They said legendaries, not exotics. That wording hasn't changed. I mean, if I go look at Shattered Throne right now as a dungeon, I don't even get powerful gear from it.
Okay, so here's the thing.
So, I mean, that's the similar idea. If you go run Last Wish right now isn't powerful stuff.
Okay, so basically, we're going to run these old raids with static drops, no changes, just for the chance of, and we're going to run all this. I'm just trying to get into the mindset of how we're doing this, why we're doing this. You know what I'm saying? That is the struggle I have. Please talk me off the edge because I'm there.
No, I mean, so what happens if you go run Leviathan right now? You can still earn what? You could get a Midnight Coup as a drop. You could get an Inaugural Address. And the highest level that's going to get up to is 1,060. That content is, what level is Leviathan? 300, 400? No, everything's 750 now. Right. So fine, it's 750. Right. So you're going to get guns that are still going to be 1,060 power level max, which we'll get to in a second. And you can still go take them back in that raid if you want to go live that glory days. But what are you trying to go into Leviathan, get a Midnight Coup, and go use it in year 4? Is that your goal there?
My goal is not that. We have a different mindset. My thing is, I struggle. This is my feeling. Raids to me are what make Destiny, right? That is a unique feature, a unique mechanic that only they do, and they do it phenomenally. I struggle, and we've talked about this many last words, where when the new raid comes out, it seems like all the other older raids are no longer relevant. Yep. And I struggle with that because at the end of the day, what is the purpose then? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that mentality. I am struggling with it.
Okay, so this is again like the mindset of me coming from World of Warcraft. You play Molten Core, you got 40 people. Right. This is the same reference. It's a 40-person crazy raid. The new expansion comes out. That thing is mostly a ghost town unless people want to experience it. That's how that works.
So then we might as well just delete it then, right?
I mean, depends on player space. Theirs is built on servers. They keep it in the game, and yeah, you could technically get 40 people together and go run it, but the new raid, whatever it was, I forget what the second one was called. But yeah, if that new raid, that's the pinnacle content. The old one's not giving you anything that's valuable. It never will. It's from that year 1. When you get into year 3 of World of Warcraft versus all the bugs and everything, which I cannot remember the name of, that raid was no one was going back and playing Molten Core because it's not going to give you anything valuable. So you're going to play a 2 to 3 hour. We're going to play a 2 to 3 hour raid and do all these encounters where every drop is useless except for the hope of, the end part, Acreus, or the end part of if you're missing those things.
Anarchy.
If you're missing those things, potentially, yes, that's what you're going
for. Anarchy is a random drop.
Anarchy's a random, yeah.
Right, there's no guarantee with Anarchy, right?
No.
So we're going to run Scourge for no reason, because no drops are substantial, nothing helps you, and then we're going to get...
They don't help you now in Scourge. It's the same... You're in literally the same boat right now. If you run Scourge right now, none of the drops help you.
My point is, there are still exotics and things tied to that you can only get there. Right? So why not just reissue that loot?
They may do that as a way to give life. They may later on, but right now, no.
gonna be interesting.
Aries is saying he does Prestige Leviathan to this day, but he was saying it was for, he goes for high stat armor rolls, which we'll cover in a second. We're actually going to be able to have a great way to grind that stuff. But right now, you're going to be able to take that stuff up to 1060, which is still higher than you could do in any other game.
Woo, yay, 160. You not knocking my socks off at that.
But no, the whole point is like I mean, the fact that you can take Anarchy, the fact that you can take 1000 Voices, the fact that you can take Legend of Acreus forward. I know exotics are immune in this, but in any other game, those likely wouldn't come forward either. So exotics have this rare immunity at this point because they're afraid of pissing off too many people, you included. I mean, and that's true, but like anything else from like a, it's a year 1 raid. All those year 1 raids in year 4.
So basically, raids are disposable. That's where we at now. Raids are you were there for the moment. It's FOMO. Raids are FOMO now.
You get to enjoy it for a year, dude. We have had Recluse for a year. How long has that felt?
Fair enough. Raids are FOMO. Interesting.
For a year, dude.
I get it. Hey, I'm trying to respect the developer. This is their content that they want no one to play, that they're keeping in the game as an asset.
No, we
got to get this part out now. Hear me out. That part is now wasted space. You might as well just delete it and just put Anarchy as a world drop. There is no purpose to grab 6 people in there and try to get that. To me, it's wasted. It's wasted resources. So you might as well just cut it out. That's all I'm saying. And this is content. They themselves don't want, they want things to be utilized and all this other stuff. I get it. But they're having a team build out this high-end content, right? To then say, okay, we're on to the next one, but it still stays here and holds a place.
You're dying on the Leviathan's hill. You still have Last Wish and Garden of Salvation that still have a life beyond that year. Maybe they get 2 years or 3 years.
But last Leviathan is like 3 raids and Scourge and Crown.
That's because all that content was packed into 1 year. Now Crown and Scourge are kind of an oddball in here because they're between Last Wish and Garden. But Leviathan being the oldest, you still have like the main expansion raids going farther than that year window. Maybe they get 2 years. Maybe they get a little longer. But again, the raids themselves, the big expansion raids, are getting a longer lifespan, which is your worry. So they're not like disposable raids. 2 to 3 years on an expansion raid. How much longer do you want that thing to live?
I just would like some content. I just would like raids to be respected. I think that is the best thing Destiny does. Let's put it this way. We have a lot of streamers. We have a lot of guests that come on the last. Shout out to CV Gray. Shout out to people we just had who like to run the old raids and Sherpa people through raids, right?
Yes.
We all admit raid is the pinnacle activity.
Not arguing that.
Okay. All I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? Like, why? If they're going to keep them around anyway, right? They're not getting rid of it. So if you're not going to get rid of it, why not just reissue?
So this is, again, but they're not going to do it right now. I think that's something you're getting into their head, that they may be like, hey, right now we're doing this, but they mention later the reissues, and they may be something be like, hey, we want to do a season of, what was the end of Age of Triumph? Maybe they do an Age of Triumph and they bring some stuff back, or they do a rotating raid, be like, hey, Leviathan, and they may have plans for that, but right now, yes, they are not going to give you stuff that's useful later, so it's going to be for the experience, which is what some people do this stuff for anyway. Do I need to go run somebody through Leviathan right now? Probably not.
People like to get something for their time, bro. People like to get... Listen, shout out to Shove the Dove. That's what I'm on. They need the Age of Triumph something with this joint. Like, that would be the nice...
And that may be a plan for later, but right now,
and I hope so.
It's not happening. And
we don't know right now. It's a question.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Right now, we don't have that answer. Right now, we just have the information we have, and Leviathan not helping you. That's all I'm saying.
We shall see. That's all I'm saying. We shall see.
All right, so we have a picture of a Loud Lullaby, which is that prime example. There's a tiny little gnat in my room. So they show Infusion. It's going to look a little different. You have your current power level of the weapon. You have the power limit. And then you have the seasonal power cap. So the seasonal power cap, and this also seems to give away what next season's going to be, it's 1060. So likely that's the pinnacle power cap that it's going to get to. Powerful gear is probably going to be 1050. So that's as high as that Loud Lullaby is going to get. When it goes into Season 12, those numbers are not going to change because that's where they're capped at. And we're going to be able to see, which is going to actually be very interesting, because if next season, now maybe they won't update it or something, I'm wondering, honestly, because then they give away the power level. Because if I look at any weapon I get this season, I'm going to be able to see what its power limit is to know how big the jumps are. So they've actually got to finally commit. It can't be 10, it can't be 40, it can't be 50. They finally have to commit to like a power increase going forward, because this is telling us in the future.
Yeah, it has to tell us what it has to happen.
So like, is the fall expansion 200, then the next seasons are 50? Are they just like decided and that's it? Because we're finally going to figure that one out. But this is what it's going to read as. So you're going to know the final limit, and that's basically going to tell you by seasons. So if you get to a season, this thing's got like a 1060 power, or say this thing said, what would be a good example? 1050, then 1250. Say it was say something you pick up next season, or even the one I've got right now might say 1310. That's the fall expansion and one more season. That's when I know that thing runs out. And then if I get to a season, be like, hey, the new power cap's 1350, be like, oh, this old weapon's finally running out of gas. That you're going to be able to see it on your weapon, and you're going to kind of get to know in advance how high that thing's ever going to get. So they're trying to give you that warning. Looking at that weapon, I know how far this thing's going to go. So that's the main piece of the picture. No, you're good. So they show that picture of the example. I know you're battling people. You're battling me. So those are the basics, but you may have additional questions as, can I use gear that has reached, can I still use gear that has reached max power level? Yes. You will always be able to equip and use any piece of gear. Reaching the player power cap is beneficial, but not strictly required for most activities in Destiny. You can continue to equip and use your gear in all of these activities. So as I said, outside of the things I listed, you can use it everywhere else. This applies to armor as well as weapons. Yes. All legendary armor that provides power will have a max power level. Starting in Season 12, armor will no longer have a... Now, this is a good thing. Armor will no longer have a seasonally rotating 4th mod slot. Instead, there will be a mod slot that accepts mods introduced in the game throughout a full year. We've recognized that the current need to replace your armor every 2 to 3 seasons and horde armor is unreasonable. So armor is getting a 1-year lifespan for that year. And then the expansion, when you make that jump, is going to send you into a new chunk of armor.
Interesting.
Transmogrification, we talked about last week, will give the ability to keep your favorite looks and apply them to new armor pieces with higher max power levels. When gear drops after its debut season, what will its max power level be? It will have the same max power level as it did in its initial season. Note, this is different than gear that is reissued. See next question. Will gear ever have its max power level updated? Not directly, but gear can be reissued, same as we got like Interference and or Old Fashioned and stuff back this season. These reissued versions will have a new max power level based on the season which it's reissued. We're going to experiment with how and when gear is reissued into the game throughout year 4. Let us know what you think of the different methods you experience. I'll just cover the final piece.
Yeah, okay.
We're sure you have more questions that aren't covered above, so please let us know. We're committed to Destiny 2 continuing to grow and evolve for years to come. And a part of that continued evolution is curating the interesting, exciting, and dynamic player sandbox. The introduction of max power level will allow us to create exciting new gear more frequently without significant concerns of permanent power creep, which is unsustainable in any game. This also should open up creativity and experimental builds season over season, while letting you anticipate and prepare for how the sandbox will change over time. All right, so that's the other half of this section for the sunsetting. So we've got armor in there as well. Armor is going to last for a full year for the seasonal slot. So it's going to last, and then the expansion is going to be like the new wave. You could use your old stuff, but you'll have the new wave come in your fall expansions. Same thing with the max armor level and stuff of that nature.
Hold on 1 second.
I was like, you are very much in intense. Something right now.
Yeah,
explain. We have audio listeners too, and YouTube listeners. So
no, listen, and I hate to go back to the raid thing again. When
my God,
keeps rearing it. Exactly, it wasn't good. So I wanted you to talk, and just wanted to get my bars off. Again, no one's fighting a mindset here, right? What I'm asking is legitimately, right, for the non-hardcore, because right now we are thinking from a hardcore perspective, or I'm not seeing it for me. I'm also seeing it for a casual WD Prescott. That's what you got to understand. when a new person comes in, right, and he logs into Destiny for the first time, and there's season of the new season raid, right? Yep. That's what the content's going to push him towards. Yeah. That is the fastest trajectory to light level and power, right?
Yep.
What is the purpose? That's what I'm trying to say. What incentive does that person have to do the older content?
They don't. That's the whole point.
Right. But
why again, does there have to be incentive to get them in the old stuff?
Why keep it around then? Because again, there's really no incentive. That's all I'm saying. They're doing two things that are just conflicting to me. It just seems weird to me. You have all this. They talk about people logging in and being confused on what to do, right? And a big map. This is Bungie saying this, right? Not me.
I know.
Bungie is saying they're trying to stream. So again, for people, this lore gameplay fun, no, stop it. They are confused when people, you know how many Destiny players come to me and say, Cog, there's so much stuff on the map. What am I supposed to go first? That's the truth. You guys can fight it because you guys are the hardcore. But if they're going to streamline, you might as well just cut it out now, because at the end of the day, there's no reason to really run that old content. That's all I'm saying. Until they give a reason why it shouldn't, my thing is it shouldn't even be around. Save space and let's free up some hard drive. You know what I'm saying? At this point, that's all I'm saying. I'm done with. I just wanted to get those bars.
Okay,
off,
say this was Destiny 1. You have somebody come in Rise of Iron. Be like, hey, did you enjoy what's the Rise of Iron raid? I never remember the name.
Wrath of the Machine?
Yeah, you run Wrath of the Machine. Be like, hey, did you enjoy Wrath of the Machine? Yeah, that was a cool experience. Hey, do you want to go see Vault of Glass? You're not going to get anything that helpful from it, but do you want to go see it? I'd love to show you. You got some people running through? That's you love Vault of Glass. You will die on the hill. The Vault of Glass is the best. And you have the experience to, no, hold on. You have the experience to show someone a different raid. Are they going to get new gear from that helps them? No. Will they understand more lore, be able to get a feel for that experience the Exiles and Atheon? Yeah, they'll get to see it. But are they going to get anything functionally helpful from it? No. But is there stuff, is there an experience, is there lore, is there story in there? Yes, that's exactly the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's just mind-boggling that people, to me, forget how an expansion in marketing works. It's mind-boggling to me that when people log into the brand new expansion of Destiny, that they are not going to beeline to the new content.
That's exactly what they want. They want everybody in the new content.
Right. So to me, it's just weird. That's all. It just feels conflicting messaging. I just don't understand it. That's what I'm saying. As far as why it's staying around as opposed to, the purpose. Like I'm just confused. That's
because it is old legacy content and it's described that way, but it doesn't mean that part of the universe is completely just cut off yet. They haven't removed anything yet. We haven't seen them do that. That may start happening in the fall because we don't know if Titan's going to explode.
Right.
And maybe the Leviathan drives away.
That's what I was about to say. That would be the only thing that would make sense to me. Now we're meeting there. Right?
I was like, if the lore piece does it, but right now the Leviathan's still parked because we have no reason for it to leave.
Right. Because here's my argument. Again, this is my last thing too. Is they just said, Luke Smith just said things cannot stay around. The nature of the game.
I paid for those. Why are you taking them away?
I'm telling you what Luke said. He the boss.
I understand that, but also I'm a customer and I didn't pay for that content. It's not going away yet.
It can't. All things Prime is going to have to go. We're going to have to choose between Prime and Rec. These are Luke's words about content not sticking around. I'm just trying to assimilate to the stuff that he said based on what's happening now. That's all I'm saying. And what you're saying could be very well right. You could literally say, yo, we're not prepared. Leviathan is going to get destroyed. You know what I'm saying? It's a big cataclysmic event. The Doritos come through. All that's going. And maybe that is what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm just trying to understand future seasons and motivations for casuals and things of that nature. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
this is not
Leviathan
really
is
pushing
old.
back crazy.
Leviathan's old. So the question will be, honestly, that will probably tell us more, is how long does Last Wish stay relevant?
Right. Now you're getting to where I'm going.
But I'm saying that doesn't have a max power yet. So it's at least potentially going to be, that's a year 2 raid that could make it through year 4. That's still 3 years of And if honestly, if you log into World of Warcraft right now, I'm not going to be able to go run you through Molten Core, even if it even exists on servers that are infinitely large.
I feel you. I just want to tell people the dirty truth that no one's talking about, which is raids are getting sunset, y'all. Let's keep it a buck. Let's stop dancing around and be cute. Oh, we're going to do it for the lore. We're going to do it for the love of the game. We're going to do it because remember what we did in 88? No, they're getting sunsetted. This is the greasing before it happens. I'm telling y'all, that's what I ultimately was trying to get at. Thank you, chat. I ain't fighting no molehill for this. I'm just telling you what's happening. And y'all trying to play these fake excuses about y'all gonna still be doing these old things. Yeah, right. I mean, casuals, excuse me, not y'all. Casuals, excuse me. Anyway,
I mean, if they want an evolving world, then maybe that is the case where, like, the Leviathan drives away or explodes, and it fights the Titan ships.
And that's fine.
And again, it's like, hey, I came to this game in year 4. Oh, you remember that thing in the Leviathan? Well, you can't play anymore. What happened? Well, that ship exploded. If they give the reason certain things leave a decent narrative sake.
My man, we there. See, we back. We in pocket. That's all I'm saying. But they can't just leave all these things on the map and say, yeah, remember the time when hey, new guys that have no connection to this, hey, go in there and do this mausoleum stuff for no reason, for the love of the game.
For a casual player to go search out a raid, they probably don't even hardly know it's there. So
exactly. Yeah, nah, they definitely, I predict what you said is going to happen. When Luke Smith said, see, I listen to Luke. Luke tells it what it is. When Luke says you ain't ready, they blowing stuff up. Stuff is getting eradicated off this map. That's what's going to happen. That's my prediction. I'm standing on that hill. All right, I'm done. Chat, I'm done fighting. We can continue now.
Ironsides, if they give it a good storyline, you're okay with removing raid. Okay, so prime example. Last Wish, Shattered Throne. At some point, that 3-week cycle, I'm hoping
has to end, right?
Hoping has to actually finish, has to be resolved. The Ahamkara Dragon, Dolankaru, whatever's powering that, whatever the death battery is doing, all of that stuff eventually has to get resolved. And if there's a point where the Dreaming City is not stuck in this forever loop, that may be a way the Dreaming City evolves into something else. And if that's the reason Shattered Throne leaves, or Last Wish is no longer around because there's no reason to fight the Wish Dragon, and they do something else. Yeah, I mean, there's a point where, I'm sorry, but most games don't. We're in a unique space outside of World of Warcraft. That is one of the only other games that's lived this long. Very few things have had this life.
I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting your mindset.
No. I'm like, and this is, and somebody's just saying. So, are you okay with if they give it a storyline? Are you okay with removing raid? Yeah, because. The whole point is to experience the newer content, the fresh content, the stuff they've put in. And if something's 4 years old or 3 years old and it's removed from the game, and especially even if it's just removed, I'm okay after that long. But if they give it a cool story, that's even better. Be like, dude, there was this like planet-eating ship, pyramid ships came in, those things you've heard about now. They like attacked that Leviathan. It was like, oh crap, I'm out of here. And it like swallowed Nessus and drove away. Yeah, that was a crazy time, man. Like that. Yeah. But again, sorry you didn't experience that raid. Well, that was like the year 1 raid from like 4 years ago. We got a lot of other stuff to do. That's the point where
I get it. I just want them to. I mean, as far as Bungie, they probably don't want to do it. I already know what's going on. I'm thinking behind the curtain. They don't want to do it. Tell us right now, because that is going to probably most likely spoil what their narrative thing. Right. But that was all I just wanted to be clear, because
you could have started there, by the way.
It didn't make sense though. Y'all was acting like it made sense. Like, no, you could still guys do it. No,
I mean, yeah, you can. Like, Destiny had 3 years, but technically you could go play Vault of One before they did the Age of Triumph. You could go play Vault of Glass. Some people would do it. Right. There was no purpose, but you could.
I was saying the purpose of it staying conflicted with his earlier statements. That was pretty much what I was saying, of an evolving world, about things not being static and all this other stuff.
Black Wings, dude, beep, was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yup, facts. No doubt.
So, all right, so the other half of this.
Yeah, we got the armor. Let's
get
the armor.
Sunsetting, obviously we seem okay. You're safe with exotics. A lot of legendaries going. It's finally hitting people. And again, some people aren't taking it well. Some people are like, hey, my grind and time investment for all these things, I finally got this god roll. It's just time that it's like, you got to move. And the biggest thing is like, there was one of the Twitter on Twitter. It was King Koya. I don't know if you guys have seen him. It's Andrew Hops, one of the developers of Bungie. Now, fair warning, cursing coming up because I'm quoting the tweet.
He fired off on somebody?
No, he just replied. He replied to Bungie's TWAB to cover this stuff. So he works on Bungie, and he basically just said, this is how he described it. And this is somebody at Bungie. So sorry for the cursing, but I do want to quote him accurately.
No, we got to be accurate.
So you know how Recluse shits on everything in PvE. Weapon sunsetting means we can add more weapons that shit on everything, and they can eventually fall behind in power. New weapons that shit on everything can be added without constant power creep. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So they can make their recluses, they can make their mountaintops, knowing that they don't have to fight them in the meta forever.
Right.
And that's
what happens is,
it's the big deal.
I'm with you, E. I'm with you, E. Calm yourself. Relax. What I was going to say is that this is where your argument is right, as far as the initial thing with the sunsetting, is that the problem they've had is when things get out of hand, right? They've have to go to the nerf and all this other stuff, and then they got to introduce new content. Shout out to the cars coming by. Salute to the cars. But
drag race
they have
going
to shout out to drag racing. They're getting it in. Sparrow racing going on. But the whole thing, they have to introduce new stuff as well as balance this stuff that sometimes is a problem. With the sunsetting, it kind of helps them out on the back end, right? Because if this thing gets too ridiculous, then it's like, look, they only got 3 more months with this thing, and it's out of here anyway. And then you can introduce new thing. And I will say this in your defense, which is kind of exciting, which is fix your face, which is, it is always, I feel, there is a fun to not knowing what the meta is at one point. And the discovery of new weapons, right? Where you like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, because all the old stuff is now going out. And then
Trials in Season 12, dude, that's just like, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows what the meta going to be? So
people are probably going to crutch exotics.
You see, are you proud of me? You see how I've assimilated into your Borg mentality now? I'm with you. No, I'm just joking. But all jokes aside, I get it because it helps them, right? And then it's like, yo, what's the new, you know what I'm saying? And we got to try out everything. And then that new stuff that we get feels exciting. It feels fresh. You don't have to worry about, damn, I got Recluse, so I ain't going to use this something, this 600 anyway, because my current thing is better than it, and I get that part. So that part is cool. Now, we got to break down this armor, though, with the whole, with the slot. After you finish with the Bungie guy, but we got to get about that slot thing, because that part is key.
For what slot?
Remember how about they no longer going to have the rotational 4th mod slot?
Oh, it's just the armor is going to last for a year.
Yeah.
So that'll be different too. Well, we talked about that earlier.
How are we feeling specific? I guess my question is, how are we feeling specific? Because I know that was a point of contention. Not that we had an issue with it, but as far as
it's honestly going to last longer,
mod.
So I'm okay with it. It lasts for a year, and I think that it has a better thematic fit because armor that you get is going to be able to use whatever mods they mess with for a year. And then that new expansion, new story push, everything gets going forward. Your new armor is going to be working with the new stuff. And that's, I never mind this stuff because I'm used to it. Like, you get to a new piece, you get a new big power bump, you get a new expansion, new armor.
Yeah, this is what you used to.
Yeah. So for me, it doesn't bother me. And the armor, the mod slot just being, them not having to think about the mod slot, it's just like, it works this year. Cool. It's simple to me.
For me, where they won me over and they got me to comply with this part is transmog. Because my issue was there are some pieces of armor that look cool as hell. And I look at some stuff now and I'm like, yo, damn, like this got the Season of the Dawn mod. So it's going to be gone soon. You know, that kind of, that really sucked if you really like something cosmetically and it was part of the old regime armor and it's gonna go away and not be able to use the newer mods. That part was like, damn, that gave me some fear. So now that they're having transmog, that is gonna be cool because there's some sets, man, that really look good and I want to continue some of those looks. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I like. So that was the happy medium for me, and then we're completely good. So armor didn't bother me.
No. Okay, so the other side of this is from Robbie Stevens. They talked about rewards a little bit last week, but we have some juicy nuggets to share with you on additional plans for next season. So, In Season 11, we're trying something new with how and where you can earn seasonal rewards. And overall, I think this is kind of cool.
Right.
Sorry, frog in my throat.
Yeah, frog. We got the frog season.
All right, so far, every season in Year 3 has followed a formula where the seasonal activity, Vex Offensive, Sundial, Bunkers, Seraph Tower, ask for a significant amount of playtime to earn new rewards. While we believe that new content should be one of the best places to earn new rewards, we also realize that Destiny 2 is a big game, and it can be frustrating to have so much of your playtime dictated by and focusing solely on seasonal activities.
The sword, the cat chat is fighting for swords right now. So your sword fight is hilarious. Shout out to Kevin. He's like, yo,
there's only one sword moving forward.
There's a sword that will move forward. It's kind of true. And he said, yo, you buff swords. And
oh, yeah. We did this last night. I was like, yeah, distraction. We went through last night and looked at how many were going forward. And okay, so before I get into what we're actually talking about, this is actually a good thing to bring up. Because this is
amazing.
Because you have a couple things that you have to consider when they start sunsetting stuff for pinnacle activities. Take Nightfalls, for example. Match game is like always on. Now, if they sunset most of your gear, you need to make sure they and this is the whole other side of the equation where I saw the big arguments. What they introduce as they sunset is the biggest key to make sure that this is successful. If you take away a Recluse and introduce Recluse B that I have to go grind for again, that sucks. I don't want A to go away just to get A.1. It's
going to happen, though.
Oh, I mean, this is where it's on Bungie. Now, this is like, I'm okay with the sun setting to try and keep things fresh, but they need to be creative in their weapon design at this point. Hopefully, the sun setting allows them to do that. They need to make sure, also, we have a decent slew of weapons that come every season. Now, we're getting potential vendor refreshes, which may help on some fronts, but you have to picture even like Arc, Solar, and Void. You have shields in match game that you have to face. And then if you compound that on top of the artifact, which may or may continue to whatever level, maybe they get a little more broad. But if you're like, hey, pulse rifles are barrier, and I go into like some barrier thing and I need a pulse rifle for range, but I've only got like one legendary pulse rifle and it's void, and this strike has arc and solar shields, what are you laughing at?
No, it's just funny you talking about it. I'm just laughing.
I mean, just like I'm thinking through. So it's like, hey, only like couple pulse rifles are coming forward. There's an arc and a solar, but there's no void pulse rifle. This strike has void guys, and I need a pulse rifle for barrier rounds. They got to make sure, and that's the key. Bungie has to make sure they be careful what they take away, what they balance in introduction, what they keep alive, so that like years worth of rotation, we always need to make sure we have an arc, a solar, a void, shotguns, sidearms. They need to make sure we have enough variety to always pick from, because if there's not much there, then it kind of is definitely going to get to be, we're so strict, like then you're going to be really like strictly limited in what you can use. So the biggest thing I saw a lot of people, I think Captain McFly, who was on, he replied to T-Rex, and he was basically saying it's like, I like the idea behind it, but it's on Bungie to make sure what is introduced going forward. The new weapons are cool. They're fun to get. They balance everything out. What is introduced forward is just as crucial as to the sunsetting to keep things fresh. So that was just a piece I wanted to bring up.
New Rad is saying something. He said that's his problem with sunsetting. He said Bungie didn't curate the weapon pool properly to begin with. There's some concerns. I get that. It's like you said, it's on them. This is their responsibility, and we got to hold them to it, because again, if you want people to sign up, you got to have that pool properly curated. You got to have a lot of these proper replacements. You can't have situations like I'm just using for example, like how, remember when this is a little slightly different, but remember when Garden of Salvation raid came out and then the pinnacles were only, it was split up incorrectly as far as power level. Like things got to be thought out, and that this is on them. I don't envy them in this regard. I think they'll do it. They have to. I mean, if they thought this through, but we can't have those type of situations happen. Yeah. For sure.
I mean, I feel like I feel like for them, I mean, I look at bows. There's not that many in the first place, but literally the only bow outside. So the world bow, Point of the Stag. You have an arc bow. Then you have Accrued Redemption, and that's from Last Wish. Not everybody has that one, but that's a kinetic bow. Right. And then we have Tyranny of Heaven, which is that's Last Wish bow. Sorry, Garden of Salvation's accrued. But there's literally only 3 bows that are going to work. So I mean, they're gonna need to introduce more weapons on a continual rotation to try and keep that variety. It's gonna be more than we've got this year.
Yeah, I was about to say. And last point, here's the key for me. I'm not even as worried about that. What I would like, I'm not worried, but this is what I would. This is an opportunity for them to do something cool. And another issue has always been Bungie make perks better or introduce new perks.
And that's the key.
And that is their opportunity. Now, if they do that, you know what I'm saying? Because we got a lot of useless. We got Headseeker out here not doing nothing. We got a lot of stuff
cool
out here.
Guy likes Headseeker and Kill Clip.
Shout out to Cool Guy, but that man could turn, water into wine. You know how Cool Guy is. I love him. That's my bro.
I'm just saying.
That man will take out some, old school joint and he'll wreck shop with it and show you the effectiveness and the usefulness. Salute to Cool Guy. That's my dude. All I'm saying is, this is a perfect opportunity to really attack the perk pool and kill that joint, man. So let's see. I would love either older perks getting better or introducing new perks. Yeah, we got to bring Cool Guy back. Facts. I like Cool. He's a fun guy.
Yeah,
that's my dude.
But yeah, that's that's the biggest caveat to so much of this is the fact that, I mean, Blackwings is saying it's like they want a weapons 2.0. We've got an armor 2.0, which I still think needs to be 2.5 or 3.0. It's not quite where, it could use more. It just could use more just because armors.
What you need.
Not even going down that path, but weapons 2.0, like giving them a big refresh in life and new perks, and that's kind of a thing that we need to get some new love in as well. So maybe that's the way things go forward, something of that nature. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, new weapon perks besides Outlaw, Feeding Frenzy, Rampage, and Kill Clip, or Multi-Kill Clip.
Besides that.
I mean, that's what everybody tends to strive for. There's a couple. I mean, Vorpal now seems kind of popular, but it's just shutting down supers. I mean, there are, or a little bit about boss damage.
For bosses.
Yeah,
boss
good for
damage
bosses.
Don't sleep.
But
shout out to my Breach Light.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went through the clearing yesterday. Trust me.
My Sundial weapons are okay, right? I just want to make sure my Sundial weapons are okay right now, right?
For now.
That's season. Yeah, okay. That was after.
So Sundial was season 9. You'll have it for 9, 10, 11, and 12. But in December, Sundial's out.
Oh, yeah. So fall content. Yeah, Sundial.
Yeah, so it lasts for 1 year of content. So Season of Dawn was Sundial.
It's just so weird that it's been a year. It's like it's hit me. It's been that long. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like we were just doing this stuff. It's so funny. Give me a railgun. Oh
you have Arbalest. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, that.
You do. That's exactly. It's a kinetic linear fusion rifle. That's a railgun. So
that doesn't do what it's supposed to do in match game, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Yeah, well, that's different. Firing line.
Firing line. Yeah, you're right.
So I mean, they're working on that, but again, the fall expansion, if they're chunking a lot of this out, needs to be a pretty big infusion of variety, and I think that's what everybody wants and needs to continue to have this stuff fresh. So
yes.
All right, back to where I was. Sorry, but that is actually a really important topic. I don't want to dumb that part down. That is an insanely huge piece. They have to deliver on variety and making desirable weapons. Otherwise, this whole sunsetting is useless. You got to have something you want to get. Otherwise, there's no point in getting rid of old stuff. Okay, so season 11, seasonal rewards will be dropping from completing core activities, strikes, Crucible, Gambit, as well as basically every other activity in the game, which they list below. I'll do that now just so we can get it in order. Public events, dungeons, raids, adventures, nightmare hunts, forges, reckoning, menagerie, escalation protocol, and blindwell. Anything you do in the game can drop said Season 11 rewards. So for every play session, it gives you a chance of earning seasonal loot. In addition to rewards, Season 11 will also feature 2 returning weapons from Season of Undying, Season of Dawn, and Season of Worthy for a total of 6 weapons that are free to all players, which is a nice... So, no, but that's a cool thing for them to say, hey, if you wanted to get it, now people who didn't buy the Season Pass can still go do strikes and get Season of Dawn weapons. So they can go work their breach lights and stuff like that. Once we've talked about some of the places where you'll earn rewards in Season 11, now let's talk about how you can influence those rewards to chase god rolls and high stat armor. Now, this is where I got a lot of questions in chat yesterday about armor. Armor grind right now is basically, hey, I get a good stat roll. Why are you making me get another high stat roll?
Right.
Which is still something why I say Armor 3.0 needs a little love to make some of that stuff more fresh. Give it like, I want, set bonuses and stuff that really start setting things apart and make it like new viable things to go after each year. Because, right now, if I have a 64 stat roll chest armor,
right, you're good.
And why do I need another one?
Why do you need
Especially if you're like,
you're
hey,
good.
They only last for a year. Well, damn it, why do I have to go in a year for sure get another one unless there's a reason? So that's where, again, I say armor needs something else. New set bonuses, new yearly additions. The mods are a tiny start, but again, if that's all it is, it's working, but again, not quite done.
Right.
So over the last few seasons, we've introduced weapon bounties that give you agency to chase specific rewards while addressing bounty fatigue will be an effort that extends beyond year 3. So they're working on the bounty fatigue. We've talked about that.
Right.
For the upcoming season, we've moved away from weapon bounties as part of that effort. Positive. Instead, we're introducing a new type of, quote, redacted engram, again, probably story stuff, who knows, that contains the majority of Season 11 rewards. By spending seasonal currency, you can influence the contents of that engram. To clear up any confusion, let's imagine we launched the redacted engram this season. Imagine this engram contained all of the season-worthy weapons and armor. Now imagine you could take this engram to a Seraph bunker, spend some currency to focus the contents of this engram, so it only contains the 7 Seraph SMG and shotgun. So any of those random seasonal drops that you would get by clearing bunkers, by doing these public events, by doing anything that would get you those seasonal engrams, now you could focus and be like, okay, shotgun and SMG, they've got some decent rolls. I only want to see those 2 drops so I can focus in and work on those god rolls. And you can do that anywhere.
Right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty powerful. We're not going to negate this. This is a cool change, and it's towards a goal. It's just, I was surprised they actually said they were going to bring some stuff back. That was the part that really threw me off a little bit.
I think it's a nice nudge because they're free. Because they mentioned specifically that are free to all players. They've been part of the annual season pass like purchases. Let some free players enjoy some of that stuff for a little while.
Yeah, this is gonna be the grind gonna be real for some of this, man. Because people gonna want to get some of that stuff, and then the fact that you can go towards a specific path. That's what made, I think they started introducing a lot of this stuff, Sundial, I would say, and what was it? What was the name of the things we used to work on in the Sundial with the fractaline? I forgot the name of them things. But pretty much
time lost bounties and all that?
Yeah, it's like, well, kind of in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a more direct, refined approach to things. And I think the community has responded well to that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? As a obelisk, thank you guys, thank you. I don't know why I was blanking on that, but I think that I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. This is cool, man, because you want to respect people's grind, and not just this random crazy loot pill that gets bigger and bigger with without the shot of trying to get the specific type of things, at least the archetypes of things you want, right?
So they say by focusing, and this is the other piece that honestly helps a lot of people with the other question of armor. By focusing engrams in Season 11, you can choose your rewards. This includes the ability, once you've earned it, so you probably won't do it early in the season, but you do have a progress point, to focus engrams so they only contain Season 11 high stat packages. So you can aim specifically for high stat armor rolls. Now that's big. Now that's the big question when somebody's like, hey, why am I going to grind? Well, if you're going to, and we'll get more how often these things are going to drop, you're going to see these a lot. If you focus up on high stat rolls, plus you're getting them all the time, I feel like we're going to have a lot of high stat packages.
Yes, I feel so.
So all free players and season pass owners will receive redacted engrams while playing Season 11. However, only season pass owners can access the full suite of focusing categories. Here's a preview of the engram focusing categories that all players can access after Season 11. Season 11 focusing reduces the number of rewards in the engram so it only contains Season 11 armor. Previous season weapon focusing converts the rewards in the engram so it only contains the 6 weapons that are returning. So that's just a couple. So you can focus on the old weapons. Maybe you missed those. You could focus on a couple of the new ones that are coming. You could focus on just armor in that season. If you unlock it, it's armor and then high stat rolls. So you can really narrow this thing down. when Season 11 launches, all players will get access to 3 focusing categories. Season Pass owners will have access to an additional 15. So if you get that Season Pass, you're really going to be able to drill down very, very hardcore on what you want to grind out.
I was saying, shout out to Ironsides, he's making a good point. They're actually introducing on a certain level D1. Remember in D1, when you would get certain engrams, you had the choice of picking
armor,
the
weapons,
armor or the weapon.
I feel like
right?
was that at the vendors and stuff? Like you could go back.
Like this is some D1 callbacks, but on a deeper, a more robust level, so to speak. So it's like I was literally what I could visualize. Remember, I used to have the little purple Engram, and he used to have the helmet, and he used to have the weapon. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. So I mean, it is interesting that we come in full circle with this. Continue.
So Shove the Dove was asking, it's like, haven't logged in a while. What's the max infusion level for Wendigo? Wendigo, like many other things that have been a little older, is probably going to cap out at whatever next season's power level is going to be. That's where it's highest going to be. So going into the fall expansion in September, Wendigo, like many other things, will not be able to go above season 11 for power level. Now, this is the point. In addition to the above list of all the places you can earn these engrams, the redacted engram have a chance to drop when defeating combatants anywhere in the system, just like legendary engrams. They share the same loot pool as legendary engrams, and when you hit that loot pool, you have a 66% chance to earn a redacted engram, 34% chance to earn legendary. So you're really going to have these redacted engrams a lot, probably. If you play a lot, they're going to be everywhere.
Yeah, they'll be everywhere. And look at all the activities that they are listed in, right?
Yep.
This is pretty much all
everything.
Core activities. Yeah, like Menagerie staying around. Okay.
Well, this is season 11. Remember, we're not
11,
talking about
this
is
11. Right. This is 11. That's correct.
So we hope this preview.
This is a for now. This is a for now activity.
Yeah, this is for now till things start blowing up.
Exactly.
We hope this preview of season 11 gives some insights. Yada yada. Shout out, by the way, for the Guardian's Heart, 788,000. They broke their charity goal. That's freaking awesome, guys. 39 Bungie Bounties. Shout out to Ares who had his.
Oh yeah, salute Ares. That's what's up.
They got a small hotfix coming on Tuesday. A couple error codes are still hanging around. They still got a couple issues. You guys can read through that if you want to. Final line that really kind of matters, and we'll kind of talk about this, and Ares, if you want to chime in on this one, if you're still out there, or anybody else. We hope you enjoy the little preview we gave you of the new redacted engram coming next season. Next week, we'll share more changes coming and how you'll earn rewards in season 11. They've talked about rewards like 3 weeks in a row.
3 weeks in a row, yeah. Salute, though.
Some of you know what a world loot pool is. Many of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't worry, we'll talk next week. So this is the other thing, is a world loot pool. Now, I tweeted to Paul Tassi because he said one thing because he was kind of excited. I was like, is this what I'm picturing? Because what I imagine coming from World, and again, Luke Smith did come from World, so it's probably not completely out of the realm of question.
Yep, that's his game.
So you had the big raids, which I didn't always have a big group to go into because it was just a larger group and part of clans and stuff. But you had smaller like dungeons you could go run that were like a step above, which is still something I wish they would do with strikes. But it was like, this is how you would kind of get the pre-raid set. This is how you would get that like next level, but not like the full end game, but it's not how you could kind of, this is as close as you could get to be ready.
Right.
And the thing is, there's so many different dungeons and stuff around, and there are certain ones like, okay, in this dungeon, in this branch of this dungeon, because there might be 3, I know from this specific boss, I can earn the headpiece for my set.
Right.
And that's like literally in the world, that's a set drop over there. Now, part of this is what he was saying is like strike specific loot. That's a big question. It's like, hey, are there certain things that we're going to be able to earn in a world loot pool of stuff that's out in the world? So I really want to know what their definition of it is. But if there are certain things to earn in certain places, like this boss can drop these 5 things.
Right.
Like that's just how that is, as opposed to just an engram.
Right.
So it's more specific drops from certain places is how I read that. I don't know if you had any thoughts about that one at all, but it has potential to be cool if we talk like strike-specific loot or things of that nature. I'm really kind of curious what they mean by it. I didn't know if anybody had any thoughts or opinions, because that one could be interpreted a whole bunch of ways.
Yeah, many different ways. Yeah, it's very vague. I don't know. I mean, I could see, both scenarios. Obviously, we've had the specific thing kind of as a part, the specific loot drop at a specific boss thing kind of existed around for Destiny for a while. Yeah, this is interesting. If they go the other side, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, I love the fact that we have gotten this level of transparency for now 2-3 weeks in a row. And we're still on rewards, which is funny. But yeah. I think this is cool. I think I don't know if they say so. Maybe this is my guess. I'm gonna take a shot at it. My guess is what I was talking about when we was getting all hot and bothered earlier about the whole raid stuff, and maybe this presents a scenario where Anarchy and 1K voices become part of that pool. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I don't know. This could go so many different ways. I don't know all the way what the thought process is, but it is interesting that they utilize that verbiage, world loot pool. Interesting terminology to me.
Yeah, it's like, because that's just like it. And conceptually, it's like Strike's exclusive loot. We all want that. Yeah. And specifically, earning certain things from certain places, in theory, could be what that is. Like, certain raid bosses would specifically, like, this raid boss can drop this bow for said guy. Like, that was a World of Warcraft thing. So, like, the hunters could get this weapon from here. If you beat that boss and you don't get it, okay, you're not getting that weapon because the next boss is working on this type of stuff. So there was always a weird, like, the set, like, an enemy having specific enemies having certain drops that's where you can get that one thing, being in more places. What if Lost Sectors can have, like, specific things in certain places, or strikes and Nightfalls, spread that loot around a little bit more. Dungeon, like the dungeon encounter, this one drops like, I almost feel like it's certain raids you can, like, in raids certain encounters drop certain things. I mean, I'm trying to think, is that even now, like, are there only certain things you can get in certain places besides exotic? Like, if I do Garden of Salvation, are there only certain things that drop from the final boss versus the first boss? There's stuff like that, right?
There's stuff like that, and then there's raids that are attached to catalysts. Shout out to Sleeper Simulant.
Oh man, please let that thing get free.
That's hey, let me tell you right now, that's where I will definitely not fight you. They throw that bad boy in the world loot pool and keep it out of that foolishness of random chests in a raid for a catalyst that I really want. So I don't know, man. I think it may be going that direction. With my prediction may be that direction with the cataclysmic possible story event.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need you're still gonna need a source. We're still gonna need a source to where can we get those things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout out to New Red, still trying to get the Telesto cat. Yeah, shout out to me. Like, I despise Spire of Stars. I just want every time I get in there, I just want my Sleeper Simulant Catalyst. That's literally all I want, and I haven't gotten it yet. It goes to everyone else for random chests. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and you only got like one shot at it, so you become reset. And it's a very annoying raid. You have to go a specific loadout. It's annoying. But anyway, I think that's what we could be doing. That's my gut. And then sunset them raids.
I mean, if they handle it in kind of a cool way, it's how this game, and this is where I wanted to kind of bring it all back full circle to you. You know this whole argument that we've been going on for a little while that D3 is coming?
Good question.
How confident do you feel about D3 coming as this information keeps being doled out to us?
Definitely feels pushed back. How
far do you see it now? I mean, I know we joked about how long stuff could last, but seriously, like, I know we thought like 2021, but man, that doesn't even seem like it's on the table.
This don't feel 2021. This feels 2022, 2023. Because my gut, now I do push it back a year, because if you're doing all of this, right, and you're sunsetting, you're not going to sunset something to then be like, yo, here's the new game.
It's like that would be that planning, that longevity of like how things are going to function isn't for that short of a time period. It may function that way in D3 when we get in there, but this still feels like they're building for a longer. That year 4 is 2020. Year 5 in September would be 2021. Year 6 would be 2022, and he said year 4, 5, and 6. So Prescott's over there saying 2023. Dakota saying 2024.
Oh wow, y'all going far. I'm gonna go 2022.
2023. I feel if you go year 4, 5, and 6, because they've literally said those words. That's 2023. They
said 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and Dave. Where they say 5, 5, and 6? I missed it.
If they said it. It was literally last week. They literally said things are going to be for year 4, year 5, and year 6. They literally had that. Hold on, let me look.
You got to send me that.
Now I got to dig. I got to get the proof. It was last week. Vanity accessories and changes. Okay. Core playlist Crucible. Core playlist reward changes. We will create new sets like this each year. Year 4, year 5, year 6, etc. So again, that's still kind of open-ended, but they're just
open-ended though. Yeah, that's open-ended. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to happen.
But they still keep giving this like lifespan that is pretty lengthy to it is the key.
Yeah. Listen, it ain't happening on next gen just yet. But we are getting something. They're going to be at the here's the caveat. They're going to be at the Summer Games Fest this year.
I know.
To announce next gen. So you know that's two things. One, it's going to promote the Cataclysmic event that's going to happen in September.
Yep.
Right. I feel what has happened now is this is Rise of Iron 2.0 saga all over again.
Yeah, this is going to be Age of Triumph right now.
Yep. This is technically this was supposed to be D3.
Yep.
Pyramids. They have now made that into Fall. We're going to ride this out during this current Destiny game. And D3 is something completely different now. That's the vibe I'm getting. So my prediction is probably 2022, 2023. I think they still will make a new game, but you can't make it now. You can't make it in the next 1 year or two. You're doing too many long-term goals in D2 right now. It's way too many. What's up, MJ the boss? What's going on? Yeah, man. So I think they are definitely keeping us around for a little bit longer. There's no doubt.
Now, if you think about that, if we go Destiny 1 at 3 years, if this goes 2023, that's 9 years. They said this was a 10-year franchise.
Here he comes.
I'm scared. Like, do you think they keep... No, I was like, I want a D3, but that takes this franchise beyond their 10-year plan. That's really making them probably... If they do a D3, that's another few years. You're getting 12, 13 years potentially with this franchise. Do you think they ever get tired of it to a point? But I was like, on the other side, they did pay $160 million from Activision for it, so you got to imagine they had a pretty long plan for this thing. They said, hey, this is going to be a franchise that lasts for 10 years. If D2 goes to year 6, potentially, we're saying 2023, that's 9 years.
Yeah.
That is just lengthwise, that's getting there. So.
Yeah, again, that was Activision talk, though, so I don't want to get too caught up with that. But that was during the Activision days when they were saying all that stuff. They're on their own. I just think that they're on their own time schedule, to be honest. I just think that this is them. This is a new frontier.
Yeah.
Right? This is, we are free. I think this season they're really going to be more acclimated on their own as opposed to that initial break of Shadowkeep and jump right into the saddle
again.
And
the Eververse is kind of telling of that too. Like, hey, we got to put a whole bunch of stuff in there to try and survive. Okay, we've survived. Now let's build the game we want to and we'd like to build.
Right. The issue is going to be next gen hardware upgrade. You better give me 60 frames per second on console. I'm going to have a problem.
Valhalla's not. They want that 4K.
Bungie, I'm telling you right
now.
No,
dude. First-person shooter has to be. Halo most likely will be for sure. There's no way that's not. Destiny 2 has to be 60 frames. There's no way it's not.
All right. Forte says he thinks they're going to drop the 2 and just call it like, Destiny Infinite, Destiny Forever. Starting in 2022.
It'd be interesting if they just did that in the fall. Just literally, we're now called Destiny and just drop the 2 now. Just to set that precedent.
Anything is possible. We're in a new frontier. They control their destiny. Literally. Fun. So it's just like, nothing's going to surprise me. But I have to admit, like what you're saying is, none of this screams we are ready to jump to to add a 3 to anything right now, at least in a year or two.
Yeah.
That's what it says. All these plans, you do not make these plans if you plan on getting a new game pretty soon. So the key is, he said even with the low enthusiasm for the community engagement. Oh yeah, it's the best community in the game. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shout out to Set Free. Salute, brother. Yeah, that was fun, man. Good to see you in there. Yeah, we got to see. Man. This is uncharted territory. As long as the engine is kept up good, as long as they're doing these kind of things.
Man, that is the issues, though. It's like, it's showing age in certain points, and to like limp this thing along for a while. I'm hoping there might be like background work where we log in and we're like, man, this feels good. Like, if they can do those types of things, but man, that's such deep level coding at an engine level. That's rough, man.
Yeah. And here's my fear is I'm with you because at 2022,
this game's going to feel ancient.
This game going to look old, bro. This game going to look like, I'm like, can we get these, better graphical engine? Can we get that, they're not Unreal. What Bungie is Bungie using Unreal?
No, I don't know. Honestly, I think that's probably proprietary. I don't know if I've ever heard
Maybe it's proprietary. Is it a proprietary engine?
No, let me see.
Shout out to the chat, if anybody, if Aries around. Who's my techies in it? Shout out to who knows, and Gaming Forte. Who knows what engine Bungie's using for Destiny? I forget off top.
Somebody's like, I believe it's Bungie's own engine. Somebody was like, is it Frostbite? Is it something else? I was like, I think it's their proprietary.
It might be proprietary or it's Unreal. But at the end of the day, this thing gonna be looking long. Tiger. People saying Tiger. The Tiger engine.
I don't know. I mean, that's literally what I'm looking here. So, but
shout out to y'all. Y'all know more than me.
People are joking about, is there going to be a Destiny battle royale? And it's like, that engine wouldn't handle that.
All I'm saying is, this game gonna be looking very spooky. Next to, all right, put it this way. Even though the games I'm about to say, people will say, oh, they are failures or whatever. Anthem reboot on next-gen consoles.
Oh, dude, that would look
done
gorgeous.
correctly.
On a real updated Frostbite for next-gen.
Yeah.
Anthem already looked good.
Yeah, right.
But, God, that would look gorgeous.
You got that Division. Or any new
Battlefront
new thing
too, same thing,
any new thing that comes on the scene, and we gonna be out here looking with this, with just
and that's one of those, like, I mean, World of Warcraft is dated per se. You go and it still doesn't look fancy, and they've had some like kind of graphical refreshes and stuff, but I mean, it's still it's a 14-year-old game. It can only look so good to a point, and that's where I wonder. That's the big pieces. You have the netcode, you have the engine, you have, and again, if you go to next-gen consoles and you really want to take advantage of, that's where a D3. It's not the canyon between each play space that you have to funnel into.
Yo, Prescott is so messy right now. He's oh my god! Listen, I feel you. Listen,
D2 still looks better than parts of Final Fantasy VII Remake. What?
He's so
Final
messy.
Fantasy looks gorgeous. I heard
it looks amazing. He's so messy right now. Shout out to Prescott being messy.
Destiny 2 Minecraft Edition,
bro. It's gonna be looking like it's gonna look spooky.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing Minecraft dungeons when people are playing Diablo 4. Like that's.
Bro, you can't be having me run around with this old pickup truck. And everybody got the new, you know what I'm saying?
The new Platinum Edition Ford F-150 extended crew cab with chrome. And, I'm not even a truck person. I'm making stuff up, but
it's gonna be looking spooky for us, man. That's my worry. It's like, I get it, sunsetting, all this stuff has to happen. I get it, but listen, Iron Size, we know what happens when anything goes against Destiny. We know, but casuals gravitate towards eye candy, and if something looks phenomenal and they correct their mistakes, that's a problem. If we still running with this engine the way it is, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm hoping. That's why I'm still sticking to. I'm holding. Part of it is hope, but part of it is 2022, because 2020 new consoles, 2021 okay, 2022 man.
Yeah, that would be.
We can't be with this thing.
Fall of 2022 would be basically 2 full years on next gen.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if people were developing games before the release of next gen, which obviously people are with Godfall and other stuff like this. You're at a point where, like, next gen games that were developed before and developed, like, you're going to be 2 years in, seeing things like God of War 2 potentially. I mean, that's going to look, holy hell, that's going to look amazing. You compare that to Destiny. You can't just do like you can't do hey, it's going to be on next-gen consoles. It's not going to look that good.
It's not going to look that much better. Yeah, I mean, it's going to, like I said, you have your frame rate, you'll have effects or whatever. I mean, what, you're going to throw ray tracing on? Okay, great. But at the end of the day, it's like, you've got to create a new engine. You got to create a new game at some point. And that's where I'm hoping. You know what I'm saying? I hope a lot of this stuff is a Band-Aid for a year to 2 as opposed to 3 to 4. Like, bruh, playing this engine for that long? You know, it's just me.
I was like, that I will be very curious when we really start to see games that utilize the SSD for loading. So the first time we see an Uncharted or a Tomb Raider that doesn't have me shimmy through a little rocks that are close together or file through this little bookcase in this house so I can get into the next room. So loading is not done cheaply like that. When we see those types of things actually like utilized, then I will be very, very curious as to what like, because like you picture Destiny does that everywhere. Every like named play space, you go through your little tunnel, your curvature, your little broken highway and EDZ that connects each path. Like all of those won't technically be required if you did D3 to that level.
Can we, and then think about all the cool, innovative things we were talking about, right? Like, you know,
can't run 30 frames per second either.
Facts. That 30 frames in the bushes. Think about all the cool things that you can get away with new tech, with expanding fire teams, patrol spaces, 6 players.
Give me yes. Like, holy crap,
you know what I'm saying? Like, these are cool. Like, even if they kept current, you know what I'm saying? But if they just, with a new engine and able to expand upon things to some level and then have the SSD loading in those assets, those faster SSDs, man, the potential of the game could be really cool. And I worry, you know, waiting that long, if the base is still going to be as strong as it is. I mean, we're going to be here because we love Destiny. But again, casuals are what's going to keep this thing alive, the people that keep coming back. And you've got to entice them with shiny things and new features. And I don't know how much more they can get out of what they have right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be the long-term question. How long can they do this? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, give me a Planet's 2 pump size public orbit and I'll be happy. I hear you, man. I hear you, brother. Gotta see. Interesting.
It's an interesting time, man. It really, really is. That's.
Look, man, we had a nice eulogy today. We gave some proper burial to some things.
Man, that list when I sat there and was working through like my vault clean out last night, and we were just looking at collections of all the stuff that won't be going into, just literally into year 4. That's already a big chunk, and they kind of gave warning, but it set in yesterday pretty hard. Yeah,
it sets in. It's in it. You see the end of doom and gloom. Yeah, man. This is woo, interesting times, man. But listen, exciting in the immediate future, right? Immediate future, we're going to get some cool cataclysmic story stuff. We're gonna get a fresh new pool of weapons, armor. I think they're handling that for the most part the right way, you know, and making loot exciting again. That kind of stuff is cool. And, you know, especially the seasonal mod stuff and all that. So I can't wait, man. I can't wait actually for September, which is the accelerated pyramids being here. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
And the result.
Oh, yeah. They were saying you can tell Ebontis played D2 for a long time because I had a solar play of the game.
Yeah.
I had some of those that didn't quite get shifted over, but.
Oh, man. Wow. Solar. Back in the day.
Man, we could speculate for a while, but I was like, I feel like at this point, we probably wrapped up everything for the day. Gotta let this man get some sleep. Always important.
Hold on. I gotta get Whiskey Joe. He said they can keep this game going strong for a couple years if they fix trials and stop the network. Preach. I really don't care what else they do. Fixing those 2 things on. Yo, Whiskey Joe, you are on to something. I've been beavered to death. Talk about consecutively, like lately, it's been bad for me.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know about
stuff's
you.
big.
It's been bad for me, and that's why I'm like, engine.
I mean, and that was why last week when we talked with CB Gray, when we were talking about Trials, loot, and forget who I was listening to. Somebody said it well. It's like Trials, like if we got new Trials loot next season or even September, because it's going to be coming in December. If we got new Trials loot, but it's not fixed, won't matter.
Yeah.
So they got to fix that stuff, and which is honestly, take the time, let them fix it up, and then like when they get that next push of Trials, hopefully it's good. But yeah, the Trials PC stuff is just nasty right now.
I'll load into the tower. It's nasty. Shout out to Cross. I'll load into the tower. There's no one there. I know I'm about to get beavered. Gotta get beavered. Like 3 in a row. It'd be back to back to back. To the point I was so frustrated. I was getting beavered out of things. I was getting beavered out of matches. I was just like, man, what is going on? They've got to get a hold on this, man. Yeah, Bungie says my internet connection. Yeah, my files with 100, 200 up, 200 down.
You're fine. Mine's slow, but I don't actually get that many errors. So
yeah, I get it, Tom. But yeah, that's all I got, man. But it was a fun one, man.
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, this is I mean, basically, this is happening. I think it will be good for the game, but Bungie does have to deliver, and I think that's the biggest thing about this. Bungie having to make what we're doing now and make the people who feel like I don't care as much because I know I've expected this and it just stuff had longer life than it should. But if you are going to get to that point where people have had these investments. Like, shout out to Pyro, who just got Redrix. Like, he was checking that box.
I've seen that.
Like, but I mean, yeah, you can use that in Control forever. That's like, so they got to have their perspectives and make sure that stuff's in check.
Be real.
But overall, Bungie has to deliver in the fall when this stuff goes with a large chunk of new stuff to make sure we always have a nice, fresh loot pool with cool perks and fun stuff that has variety. Because if I have like one bow I can pick from and then I get one more, I'm going to need a little more love than that.
Yeah, I'm confident in that regard. They gotta have the stats as far as weapons, as far as the archetypes, which archetypes they don't have enough of, what they gotta reintroduce. I'm confident that they're very number heavy, so I'm not really worried about that. The key comes down to obviously the implementation and stuff like that. But I think they will be fine in that regard. To be honest, I do think they'll be fine in that regard.
Shout out to Slayer. They need to add another hammer. It's the Beaver Hammer, and they're playing whack-a-mole. That's awesome.
It's awesome, man. Salute.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. Cognito, wrap them up. If you got anything going on this weekend, let them know, or where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, man. At Lord Cognito on Twitter, all that good stuff. And Iron Lord Podcast every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Actually streaming on Twitch now. We're streaming on Twitch, multi-platform. So if you follow me on Twitch, you don't like YouTube, please follow Iron Lord Podcast on Twitch and Mixer. We're on both platforms, including YouTube. So pick a platform. You can even interact with us there through the chat. I try to talk to all the different platforms simultaneously, 1 p.m. Eastern. It will just be the Lords. No special guest this week. Just talking about all the hotness that went down this week. PlayStation 5, Engine, Unreal, and of course, the Ghost of Tsushima. You already know we're going to talk about that and a lot of the gaming stuff, man. But yeah, check us out. And yeah, man, you know what? That's where I like to shout out with the best capacity podcast you never heard before. You know what I'm saying? That he hates when I say it, but I say it on those platforms too. So they know King is the biggest supporter. He is, shout out to King. He be riding, man. King is be in his bag. He gonna definitely be in his bag on Sunday. It's gonna be hilarious. But yeah, again, if you want to watch the content, again, just to reiterate, if you're on Twitch, like you're here, and you want to watch our Lord Podcast, we're on Twitch. We simultaneously stream. So come check us out, man. We're going to talk games and listen to my crazy Lord brethren and talk multi-platform stuff.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
I was like, for me, you guys know I'll be doing this. I'm still working through Neo, so we're over halfway through working towards that one. It feels like I'm not going to get Final Fantasy VII in before Last of Us. So Last of Us is bigger, and I do want to play that fresh, not to be spoiled as much as I've avoided spoilers so far. So I want to kind of keep that one going.
I want to replay the first one before I get into that. I haven't done it on PS4.
It's not a short game, man. You kind of got to get on that sooner than later.
I know. I got to get on. It's not short. I know. I got to get going.
But yeah, I'm Ebontis. You guys can find me Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, EBONTIS. If you find the cheetah in my name, you have found me. So we are going to go send a raid over to, I know, an awesome streamer. She does some amazing raids and stuff like that. So it's Obi Katie Cat.
Kitty Cat.
So we're going to send the love over there to her. Definitely find her on Twitch if you guys are listening to this on audio. But thank you all very much. Keep your recording incognito. We'll wrap it up. And then for all of you guys, episode 103, May 15th. This has been an awesome one. Thank you guys very much. Kind of crazy topics, but the world is changing. So thank you guys very much. And it has been The Last Word.